Okay. Oh, Jesus Christ, my fucking shit crashed. All right. OBS is having an absolute conniption today.
We'll see what it do.
Crashing out.
I'm telling you, that was
We
a
are
pointed
crashing out.
message. So
So what you said? So you said like the Twitch will actually see it in the correct. It won't flip on Twitch.
Okay.
Well, I
For
can't
your
switch.
Twitch and
Yeah.
for your broadcast, it doesn't look right because of Discord. But for us, it looks right. I don't know why Discord does this. No one has ever figured this out. It has been asked numerous times. We can see it correctly. You cannot. It's wild.
Say less.
I legitimately want to know, has anyone gotten a straight answer from fucking Discord on that? Because I know it's been asked to them numerous times.
I know better than to try to speak to Discord. I'm just going to get more problems.
Their answer is yes.
More money, more problems.
They're going to take away more features. It's like, what, you got a problem with it? We're going to just go ahead and yank this out of here.
Where the fuck is everybody? I'm about to slap some hoes. What the?
Well, like I
All
said,
right, so Gibbs can't be here.
Sociologic is on his way. He should be here any minute. Gibbs may or may not be here. He's having
Internet
Texas
issues.
problems.
Texas problems.
L state
What?
problems.
That state is better than your state. I will defend Texas.
I mean, you can say that all you want, but we all know it's not true.
Texas is better.
At what?
Everything.
Not unhinged.
Are you kidding me? You guys passed a law that says that teachers have the ability to, like, screen the information that they give to parents. Y'all are fucked. You all are straight fucked.
Yeah, I'm going to say Texas will end up having a problem with that sooner or later. California is the prototype state. Every good thing that happens gets tested here first, and we're always ahead of the curve.
Oh my god. You're at the head of the curve of people leaving your state because it sucks.
I mean,
dude,
all the people that left our state for Florida, enjoy yourself.
No, they're moving to Arizona, dude.
Yeah, they
like
can
they're
have
like most of the people that are leaving California are going into Phoenix, from what I can find out, or
and they can fry.
Up to the...
Let them fry and wish to come back to California. It's still not my problem. They went from humidity to frying.
All right.
Hey, them California gas prices OD, bro.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
exactly. That is pretty brutal. But like literally everything that you need is about 15 to a half an hour away. It just takes literally a half hour to get 10 miles.
I like that spin artistry. I fuck with it.
Yeah. It's just like, I live in paradise, except for the fact that it's unaffordable. You literally have turned paradise into hell. Good job.
Every other state turned our paradise into hell by us needing to subsidize it.
Bitch, please. You guys can't even get I-7 built because you won't get off your asses. You guys can't even get I-15 widened because you won't get off your asses. Jesus Christ. Oh, what are you doing, dude? Okay. I have a cat here who is apparently very interested in hanging out with us tonight.
Works for
Come
me.
on, bud.
As long as it's not an orange cat. So yeah, Asman issued an apology.
What? Oh, that's Cope.
He apologized.
Cope.
He knew he was wrong.
He meant every word that he fucking said.
Yeah, he did.
Every word. Every word. And he's totally right, by the way. But, whatever.
I mean, totally right, or did he misword some things for some vagary that got him fucked?
I think there was a level, like, he was saying it in probably the most obtuse way possible, because there was, like, no delineation. But he's not far from the truth, and y'all, like, need to stop the Cope train on this a little bit. Like, there's some societies that should not be, like, put into, like, the level of civilized. And we're talking about one.
Now you're doing it.
Yes! He's right!
And when you have to issue your apology, Ty, I want to be there and tell me I'll pop some corn beforehand. I'll get a nice beverage.
Look, if I hit it, fine. Oh well, sucks. Because for real, dude, and I mean this for real. If they want to hit this dude, was it Osman, for fucking telling the truth while they simp there and suck the fucking cock and balls, all deep throated all for Hassan Piker when this motherfucker has violated their TOS. I don't know how many goddamn times. How many? For real.
Osmium Gold, streamer that plays video games and does not shower and pees and never washes his hands, that needs to stay in that lane instead of going into politics.
Look, I'm not saying he needs to go into politics. He probably might not be a know-nothing. But it is literally one of those issues of even a broken clock is right twice a day. This is the twice a day. He fucking nailed it. He's not wrong. He's really not.
Yeah, at the end of the day on that one, he should... Yeah, Ty doesn't know what he's talking about. It has been gold. Yeah, Osama bin Gold. Good one, Kyle. The absolute opposite.
Like, don't get me wrong. From what I understand, like, this dude is kind of a jackass, right? I'm not fanboying for him for any, like, I like him reasons. I'm just saying, like, straight up, his point is, like, on, like, something I want to scream about. Why do we treat people who literally, go against every value that we say we have as a people, as a civilization, as a culture? And these guys are pretty much literally, like, mega Hitler. Like, these people are horrible. Like, wow.
Well, see,
like,
you got to look at what his statement was. So he was basically saying that they have genocide coded in their system. It depends on how you want to define a genocide. And if he was meaning they're willing to kill LGBTQ people, which is pretty much what he meant, but didn't know how to say it properly, then yes, his statement was correct. But he did not clarify on this.
oh,
And it sounded horrific when he laid it out there like that.
okay, so I kind of gleaned something different out of this. Well, maybe that's because of, like, what history I know. I don't know if he knows anything at all. But my general take is crap. I need to reboot my thought process. What was it? Just repeat that last thing that you said.
Well, he was basically saying if they're complaining about a genocide, they have a genocide. They have genocide.
Oh yeah, the
religion.
encoded genocide. Okay. I would absolutely not go down the line of or Islam or Arabs have like genocide encoded into them. Like no. What I think this the Steelman argument that I pulled out of that was, and maybe I shouldn't have Steelman this, is we are talking about the religion itself does actually preach for holy war. The religion itself is like the emotive, aggressive form of what is it? Not apostate. Proselytizing. Like it is an aggressively proselytizing religion. And it's encoded in that. And people have gone to war over it, right? And even says, about jihad. There is a level where some of that is definitely kind of stuff that we do not like and agree with. And some of these people 100% believe it. Now, are they the radicals?
See, you said some of these people.
Yeah.
See, that's already better than his statement because he just straight up said all of them.
Yeah. Oh, there's degrees here, right? But there's also degrees where at some point, and this goes into people's different levels of coded ethics, is when do you become an enabler? Because there's a lot of people who are secondarily instituted within these or part of these institutions that sponsor radical terrorism and straight up Wahhabism and all these different ideas and sects, right? Mm-hmm. They're very prolific. If you even talk about just not the normal extremists that are literally in some parts their governing structures, right? But it's also the people who actually support and enable the system. You're still talking about 20% of people just straight out of the bat. And that actually goes along with about the 20% of people that we poll in Islam who say they actually want an aggressive form of Sharia. as their form of local governance, which is deeply concerning. And if anyone doesn't share that, that should be like a holy shit moment. On the other side of that, though, is that the question is, what do you do when about that 60% in the middle, who I don't know if they give a shit really about their religion, but they're somewhere where they're like semi-militant. They're like they're middle class people. Like, it's weird. They care, but they don't at the same time. I don't know how to put this in perspective because they're like involved secondhand. They have a cousin who's involved with this stuff. They have a brother who's involved with this stuff, or a mother, somewhere where it's like pretty immediate as far as like family and peers and colleagues who are involved with this stuff, kind of thing, right? Mm. And it's like, do you hold them responsible for enabling this 20% that's horrible? And I don't even know where to start down that ethics trap. I don't.
So, when you look at the way things work out in this country, compared to our country, where we are currently complaining about, well, certain sects of our society are complaining about voter fraud and unfair elections. On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you say the fairness of their elections are?
The fairness of theirs or ours?
Theirs. I'm saying, if anyone has room to bitch about unfair elections.
Okay. Let's be real. So, is this going to be the argument going down to, like, these are people who are kind of, like, used and abused? Like, the 60% are people that are kind of under the thumb of a very aggressive theocratic dictatorship. Right?
Well, they definitely are. And some of these people do things under duress, or they don't get a vote in general. They definitely don't have free reign of thought or reasonable education in a lot of cases. So, like, what is your expectation? Yeah, sociologic, perfect.
So,
glad you made it.
So here's my problem. We told the world at Nuremberg that mentality was not accepted. That you can't be just the person who was following orders. You can't be just the person who sees horrible ass shit and be an open enabler. Like, if you, like, we literally generated the name for this shit during this time. It was a crime against humanity.
So at that point, what happens?
Like, I mean, this is the shit that we would go to war with these people if we actually, like, had any difference for our government versus theirs, right? It's like we keep doing this double-sided thing where we're like, hey, their culture matters, but we don't really want to play with them, right? We don't really want to be involved. We don't like them. It's wild. Like, the narrative and the action don't even line up.
Are we talking about Arabs?
Yeah,
to some degree,
we're talking about
the Islamic world.
We're talking about the Asmongold statement right now. We were killing some time until you showed up, and
I don't concern myself with the opinions of people who have roaches that live in their room, but yeah, when someone's gonna talk to me about the culture of like, dude, our culture is better than theirs, but you literally live in a bag of trash. No, I'm okay.
And refuse to bathe while doing so.
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
Like I said, no, like I'm good. Like I'm.
Yeah, does everybody?
For now, yeah, I'm not sure that Gibbs is going to be able to make it because that would have made our 4th. But I mean, for what it may be, in honor of Gibbs, the show must go on, unless you can get KOE, a reasonable facsimile, real quick. No, I'm joking.
I mean, if you want, but he's probably harvesting right now, so good luck.
He's probably in church, the heathen.
Nah, he's probably cutting wheat or beans or some shit. No, not wheat, beans. Sorry, what the hell?
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start it up. Welcome, one and all, to the Minds of the Ecclesia panel. I am your host, Lethe Water Kai. And with me, I have some amazing guests, some you've seen before, some you may not have seen. And I'm going to go ahead and let them get an introduction, starting with Higher Thinking.
What's up, everybody? I'm a Higher Thinker from the Chicago Black Delegation Podcast, a podcast dedicated to the upward trajectory of Black American culture by way of making us more aware of politics, social issues, and relationship dynamics and things of that nature. Glad to be here once again. Can't wait to get into the conversation.
Awesome. Glad to have you. And with us today, Sociologic.
What up? I go by Sociologic. I am a panel guest as of the past year. Looking forward to getting into the topics. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. And with us, the man, the myth, the legend, Tiberius D.
Yeah, it's great to be here, everyone. And I'm Tiberius D. I am your resident Who's Your Daddy, and it's great to be here once again. I've been missing you guys for a while. This asshole skipped me out on the last episode.
I wonder
Didn't
why
even
I did
invite
that.
me.
Why did I do that?
Let your man down. In all fairness, I actually couldn't have made it. But hey, I just want to celebrate the fact that tomorrow I get a bucket list double Jeopardy bonus kind of deal. Because not only do I get to go with the lady friend out to just go stargazing with the telescope, which is kind of like a bucket list thing for me, I get to check out a comet too. That's like a double bonus multiplier kind of deal going on. So I just want to celebrate that for a little bit. And then let's roll with it, man. It's good to see you guys.
All right. So
Real quick. Can I get a link in the chat or something?
Oh yeah, sure. Give me 1 sec. To the Discord or to the stream?
I'm a freaking noob, bro. Just keep it in my DMs.
Yeah, you got it. So here's a stream link.
Excellent, thank you.
All right, so getting with the first topic. Why are so many people unemployed in a strong job market? Where is the disconnect? Why America has 8.4 million unemployed when there are 10 million job openings? The economy is undergoing massive changes. There's a big mismatch at the moment between jobs available and what workers want. A mystery sits at the heart of the economic recovery. There are 10 million job openings, yet more than 8.4 million unemployed are still actively looking for work. The job market looks, in some ways, like a boom time situation. Business owners complain they can't find enough workers. Pay is rising rapidly, and customers are greeted with, "Please be patient, we're short-staffed" signs at many stores and restaurants. But the nation remains in the midst of a deadly pandemic with COVID-19 hospitalizations back at their highest rate since January. The surge is weighing on the job market again, with a mere 235,000 jobs added last August. There are still 5 million fewer jobs compared to before the pandemic, reflecting ongoing problems, including childcare as some schools and daycares are shut down again from outbreaks. From the White House to the local Waffle House, there's a struggle to understand what's going on and what's likely ahead. This weekend, the unemployment crisis will hit an inflection point as many of the unemployed lose $300 in federal weekly benefits and millions of gig workers and self-employed lose unemployment aid entirely. Some anticipate a surge in job seekers, though in 22 states that already phased out those benefits, workers did not flood back to jobs. What does this mean for what we're dealing with in America? I'll start with higher thinking.
Okay. So I think the first thing I want to kind of tackle was like how the government actually gathers the data for the unemployment, which I kind of found pretty interesting. I think that's kind of a good way to kind of start the conversation. So I actually have it in front of me. This is from usafacts.com. So it says here that every month the federal government releases its preliminary jobs report, which offers the earliest indicator as to how many people in the United States are employed or unemployed. What these jobs reports show can often have a huge impact on the country's overall economy and the policies and decisions that are driving it. Also says here that this data comes from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, aka the BLS, which is part of the United States Department of Labor. This agency uses a monthly survey of 60,000 households, pretty important, called the Current Population Survey, or a CPS, to determine these numbers. when is this report comes out? It comes out at the first Friday of each month. But this was pretty interesting. And again, I think this is some pretty important, I would say, foundational information to do with this conversation. How does the BLS measure unemployment? The unemployment rate is a simple percentage of the labor force that is classified on the survey as unemployed. To be unemployed, you must meet all of the following criteria. You were not employed at the time of the survey. Okay, makes sense. You were available for work at the time of the survey, except for temporary illness. And then you made at least one active effort to find a job during the prior 4 weeks. To be and you must meet all three of these things to be classified as quote unquote unemployed. Obviously, there's different criticisms of this plan, but like considering that this is how they go about justifying if you're unemployed or not is I would say it's pretty. I mean, I would say interesting to say the least. So like with that kind of said, like I think marrying this with the understanding that when Biden kind of tried to pass his narrative that he created, there was like he's a part of, or his administration is part of like the biggest employment growth in the history of the nation, which was really just it really just turned out to be that it was just a whole bunch of recovering jobs from the pandemic, which was I mean, what's the word I want to use? Unhonest, dishonest to say the least. It kind of does call the question just how like should we like I hear the numbers, like I get like to understand where these numbers coming from the article that you posted is like quite important. I think this is like, how do I put this? I think we have to kind of really take a look back and just, I want to say question. Do I dare say question how these numbers kind of came about? But like I don't want to. I do feel like this could like kind of mess the. I don't want to completely derail the conversation altogether just by questioning numbers themselves. But I mean, just directly related to the conversation itself. I mean, simply stated that people don't like the current options of jobs, and these jobs aren't good enough for it's simply not a bank. They're not people not getting their money's worth. They're not getting their time's worth. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention that a lot of the times, I think another way they kind of collect the data on the unemployment is by counting like the checks distributed, and instead of like counting how many like whom exactly amongst the population is employed. Because like I said, well, going by this data, they only collecting 60,000 people out of like the millions or billions of people in the United States, or I'm sorry, millions. And I don't know. It's like it all just seems entirely too like it's not handled the way it should be handled. Understanding the gravity of the conversation. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like it's something very wrong when the way they go about collecting the data of which, or the way the method of which they collecting the data is just, it doesn't really seem like it's reflective of what's actually happening to Americans. But I mean, it just really doesn't seem like I'm sorry, even with that aside, even with the gathering of like the unemployment rate aside, it like people are just simply unimpressed by the options available, or the I'm sorry with the people are just not happy with the jobs that are made available. And like, not to mention the fact that it's like so many people are going to college and then going in with these I'm sorry, they come out of college with this higher education with these degrees, but so many people are, I mean, albeit they make more money than the average person that doesn't have a degree, but they're not making the jobs that they have, just they don't come out of like the careers that they attain with those degrees is just doesn't match with what their actual Geez, I wish these words would stop would stop escaping me.
Well, we're going to open up the
majors
conversation,
like
so
that.
we're just in openings, so you can still get more in as we expand the conversation.
For sure, but that's pretty much it. Though. Like I'm just questioning like where the numbers came from, and for the most part, people are just unhappy with the current selection of the jobs that seem to be available.
Excellent, thank you for that. Sociologic.
Yeah, people don't pay enough. The barrier to entry for a lot of certifications and degrees is like exhausting. So it kind of just makes it like people not want to do that, or even like hard to go through them. It's a lot of them aren't even like transferable state to state. It's obnoxious. A lot of people can't find jobs that are like that don't require certifications but are all decent paying. And then honestly, just a lot of workers feel mistreated, especially if we saw like through COVID when we had essential workers. Like in Michigan, we had essential workers that had to work and they were still getting their minimum wage, like if they were working at Target or Kroger or whatever. Meanwhile, people who weren't allowed to work were receiving like $1,600 every 2 weeks in unemployment and not paying rent. So it's like, yeah. Plus, even if you do make enough money, like shit's really expensive. So people aren't satisfied with like making $22 an hour, even though that used to be like really good. Yeah.
Solid.
Go ahead, Ty.
Tiberius.
Thank you, buddy. I might echo a bit of what the two prior have just said, but largely, I'll state for this personally that I'm involved in this to a large degree. For the last 2 years, I've been kind of in and out of jobs because I basically got to 30, realized that I had made some mistakes, and I need to get my life on track, right? So like I've been kind of in and out of the jobs, trying to find like what I'm looking for. Got a game plan now, but it's been a rough 2 years. Long story short, from my own personal experience, but also from what I'm looking at, there is a narrative out there that is bullshit. We're supposed to have this really healthy, like, job growth economy and whatnot. Dude, I'm going to restaurants at certain points at this because I'm like, hey, I got to pay the bills. And I'm like, hey, I'll take your $13 or $12 an hour job, literally washing dishes because it's easy and you don't really have to try hard, right? But it's a job, and I'll take the fucking income, right? It's semi-bearable. Dude, I've gone into numerous restaurants, just in my general area. Of course, like I'm not trying to get it in your local neighborhood. But at least in my general experience, and I have moved cities, is that in the last 2 to 4 years, so many people are just saying no, like we're not hiring anybody. But then I see so many posts on Indeed. And at least from the long and the short, there's some reasons to be skeptical here. Because it looks like that there is something a little nefarious going on. Now, I'm not saying like there's any kind of like, oh, there's a secret cabal or anything. No. It seems to be like probably everyone's kind of going in the same direction kind of issue. Where employers are kind of tired of the employees and employees are kind of tired of the employers. It's like there's a complete breakdown that's just happened. And so, like, there is a lot of people who don't really want to work if they can help it at all, and they're trying to game the system in every way, shape, and form they can because they're just fucking tired of it. Which you can have those whatever opinions you want of those people, because I have some mixed feelings. On the other side of this is that I look at the employers and they're like, nah, fuck this shit. If I'm gonna have to figure out how to work with 3 people on my team and that's it, I'm gonna do it. And it's just kind of wild. I think there's definitely a breakdown here. I think there's some nefarious shit going on when it comes to like job postings, because you'll notice that they're up for 2 weeks and then they're down for 2 weeks, and that same thing's back up for 2 weeks and then it's down for 2 weeks. Somebody's playing some shit, but I've got more than one direction to point, and I'm going to end with that.
All right, I'm going to open up the conversation. Any insights?
Hi, I agree with you. As a 32-year-old, I just moved to Massachusetts. I just got engaged. There's a whole fuck. I have to change a lot of things. So I was a massage therapist in Michigan.
Okay.
Right. I got my license 11 years ago. When I got licensed, it was pre-national certification test. Right. So I've had my license for 11 years.
Okay.
I come to Massachusetts and I'm like, hey, can I work? They're like, gotta get your license through Massachusetts. I apply for the license. They're like, hey, you have to go take this test now. And I'm like, wait, I've been doing this job for 11 years. What do you mean I have to take a test to do the job? That seems, and it's like so medical because the barrier to entry to like a lot of these jobs is like fucking, it's intense. I have to restudy medical. Like I'm 33 years old almost. I'm not about to. I'm going to.
I have a great aside for this. Just ask me about libraries when you're done.
Okay. So then while I was here, I was looking into like maybe I'll do barber school, right?
Okay.
Barber school here is 10 months. But if I was like, okay, what if I move to a different state? Every state has a different requirement for amount of hours, depending on the state, to fucking cut hair.
Hold on. So
And you can't. What up?
I was just gonna ask you, like, so if you get your barber's license from one state, you can't just bring it to another state.
Nope, you have to
No
complete the amount of
reciprocity.
hours required in the state. So, for example, if like we plan on moving back to Michigan, in Michigan it's 1,800 hours to become a barber. In Massachusetts, it's only 1,000, right? So it's like
Okay.
I'd have to pay the 12 grand to get a barber's license here,
That's what it's about.
and then go back to Michigan and pay another 8 grand.
All right. I'm gonna do the raging small government Tiberius rant for a minute here because like I don't get to play this card very often of like
Do
actually
it.
being conservative, but I get to
Have
do
fun.
it now. Dude, the government is up everybody's ass, particularly on the trades. They're getting you for CDLs, they're getting you for being a welder, they're getting you for being an electrician, a plumber,
Really?
whatever. It's like, hey, let's make people pay out the nose to do a fucking job that we need. Dude, 100%. I wouldn't give a fuck if it was like hitting these guys who are like being waiters or fucking, doing all the
Thank you
shit
for the
that
sub
no
raiser.
one needs to do, right? Like, I wouldn't care. But it's like they're going after some of the stuff. I get liability, right? Like electricians, you don't want your house burning down. You should have a little bit of paperwork, right? Plumbers, to some degree, same thing. Anything that's gonna like blow up your property, but like everything has to have like a class and like a couple of 100 or 1,000 hours, and now the test fucking costs $400 goddamn dollars.
Yeah.
Dude, fuck off. Get
It's
government
insane.
off my ass. It's so dumb.
It's insane. And so like that, I think that's like one of the bigger problems for people is that one, they're like, hey, they're 28, right? They're like, I didn't go to college. I've been working some fucking job. I'm sick of getting paid $15 an hour because at 40 hours a week, that's only $500 after taxes, like $530 after tax. Because that's what I'm working right now is like a minimum wage job at 15 an hour. And it's just like, so like, but in order to go get certified, I have to go take a 40-hour-a-week class that I have to pay $1,000 like a month to like exist in while still working the job, while having to pay the rent, whatever it may be. So like, okay, fine. But then like so my brother, for example, he's in tech, but like he found a job while he was in school, which was like a vendor situation. He goes out, he drives to like Best Buy, Target, whatever it may be, and he sets up like TVs and shit. And it's like $22 an hour plus they pay you for gas. I was like, how the fuck did you find this job? Right? He's like, dude, what do you mean? Like, I just asked, like, I went on Indeed. I couldn't find the job. Then I asked him to get me a job. He keeps telling me how many workers they need. He tells his boss, bro, his boss took 3 months to reply to him and kept like egging him on, like, yeah, we'll send him an email. Never sent me an email, never reached out to me. But it's like, you keep asking for workers. What does that mean?
Yeah.
So
Uh,
I'm saying
I'm
I
lucky
just posted in the chat some statistics. So from 2022 to 2024, and it's been showing that from 2022 to 2024, the job openings have been drastically dropping.
Yeah.
With unemployment.
Because
going
people-
down.
Because I think people are just removing the job openings. And I think something that unemployment maybe isn't taking into account, a lot of people are making money on TikTok. Like a lot of people, a lot of average Joe people are making money on TikTok. It may not be a lot of money, but if you scroll through like with TikTok Shop, with them being able to sell things, it's you basically have like what was that fucking network where they would just sell shit on the network all night long? Fucking
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but like it's essentially like that, where like the average person gets like 5,000 followers. They're just live all day selling candy, selling chairs, selling mattresses, selling shoes, selling whatever the fuck it is. And they're making these like small, it's not even gig economy. It's like literally interpersonal sales at like thousands of dollars a week sometimes. And I don't know if that's counted as a job. I don't know where that gets counted into like the economy.
It probably
Thousands
doesn't.
of dollars
like,
a week
a lot of
sometimes.
these gig jobs barely.
And I don't know if
count
that's counted as a
right?
job. I
Because
don't know where that
you
gets
get like a
counted
W.
into,
What
like,
is
the
it?
economy.
10W4 or some shit like that.
$1,000
A lot of these gig
Um,
jobs barely.
and I don't know if
count.
that's
And then like
counted as a
1090
job. I
or
don't know where
W1090.
that
You
gets
get like a
counted
W.
I got it.
10W4 or some shit
Like,
like that. I mean, if I made more money at Twitch, I would have to do all that shit, but I don't.
How do I there we go. Sorry about that.
Nah, you're good. Home Shopping Network is now TikTok.
Yeah, you can just panhandle, bro. There are people who are just asking for money and receiving it.
Look, there's some of that where I don't know if that, like, I don't think most of that's really counted as any kind of real employment, or at least general employment. So there's levels where, like, I know that most of the unemployment numbers are bullshit on both directions. Like, there's easily more people working than what's let on. Because there's like just way too much economic velocity right now. Because as much as the people are like, hey, the economy is slow, in certain aspects, it absolutely is. But in other aspects, it's fucking not. Like, if you're talking about how much people are eating every week, general food sales, it's shifting around a shitload. But, like, people are still going to eat because people got to eat, right? And it's like, people are still getting money for food. People are still getting money for gas, and people are still getting enough money to, like, live. Where they're getting it from, fucking half that shit's up in the air. I know that the IRS, if they would actually get off their fucking ass and actually be a real institution, could fucking tell us, but no one actually will let the IRS do a goddamn thing that's actually intelligent, because everyone in America hates taxes. So, legit... they can answer so many goddamn questions. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but then they do the research and they find out it's all payday loan apps and fucking like gambling apps, right? Because like I know too many people that are like, "Yo, dog, I'm like making too much money on betting," and I'm like, "What do you mean you're making too much money on betting?" And every app is like offering you like $1,000. They're like, "Yo, we'll give you we'll match you up to $500 on your bet." It's like insanity. It's insanity. So like, there's a lot of people making this random ass, like, just side money, Bitcoin, whatever the fuck it is, whatever shit coin they were pushing that week.
Look, if people are making it work.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I even like my own personal life, I know a dude that literally touched like, he literally touched like $100,000 like twice, and the dude doesn't even have like he doesn't go outside. You know what I mean? To work. It's just all like the fucking like the sports betting and stuff like that. And like the dude like he's such an addict, you know what I'm saying, that he literally, it was in his wallet, you know what I'm saying, in his like in the app or whatever like that. And he's like, yo, if I bet this shit, I'll make $1 million. And then like the tennis player, and this because this guy was betting on tennis. And I don't know if you guys have any black friends like that, but black people don't watch tennis like that. You feel me? But this dude was betting on tennis games. And then the guy, he said, only thing this guy had to do was play the damn game. And then the dude, like, literally dropped his tennis racket, went home. The dude lost. You can say he lost $100,000, but he actually lost $1 million. You know what I'm saying? But like the fact of the matter is, the dude, like, to what you're just saying, people were just finding alternative ways to work instead of like working for a corporation, anything like that. Yeah, like absolutely. And he's just one example. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I want to kind of bring, well, I don't want to, if y'all was in the middle of something, I do want to bring something up after y'all done with this conversation.
We're probably just gonna bounce around because there's 3 of us that are panelists, and then Letha just jump in when he wants to. So, like, as long as we're not all stepping on each other's toes, it should be pretty chill. I had a thought and I lost it.
I'm sorry. That's what I was afraid of.
No, you're cool, dude. I'm a little elevated. I just like to kind of kick back and shit post on the internet with you guys.
Nice.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. Like, suborbital velocity, Anyway, there was something that Sociologic said like, towards the last bit that I really wanted to tag out, and I can't remember what it was.
Like my opener?
No, not the opener, but the last time you spoke. I know, right? I forgot it too. So yeah, if anyone remembers, but yeah, no. I'm sorry. I got to get used to the new guys here.
Certifications, minimum wage job, travel. states. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you were talking like the TikTok
Yeah, TikTok
alternative,
money
like, yeah, like
and
I'm
handling. Yep.
so if people are actually making it work and like getting by, like I can at least be happy for that to a degree. Now the toil sucks, right? And there's a level where like I'm not sure if I'm convinced that I've given into the sadism where like there's a point in your life where you have to work like 60 hours a week for like a year or two because it's just like you got to kind of kick through a threshold, and I have been very hesitant to doing that, right?
Mhm.
But no, there's a level where it's like, hey, I've got a game plan, I got a mission here, so like I'm gonna shoot for it, and I don't know if it's just where the ass end of us millennials are literally trying to buck the system a little bit before we fucking conform. But like there's levels where like there is a discrepancy between like what I'm asking for and what I'm seeing. Because I hear a lot about like, hey, everyone needs help. We're all looking for help. And then there's a conversation about, hey, the posts are going lower and lower and lower and lower for everybody. Less jobs are getting open. Less people are taking jobs. Like the whole system's kind of just like, if you're not in, you're in, and if you're out, you're out.
So
That's wild.
I have to ask,
What?
what benefit do employers have by posting jobs and then unposting these jobs?
Yes. So I've actually looked into this because it's been driving me nuts. As far as I can tell, there's no tax write-offs for this. Some people have been claiming that. I can't find it in any code, or maybe it's very state specific. So that's a possibility. A lot of people are saying that it makes you look better on your your general balance sheet because you can say, hey, we are offering X amount of jobs, and it makes you look bigger as a potential company in a vibrant business. Is that you actually have, let's just for say numbers, you actually have 120 people, but you're claiming that you employ 150. And it's one of those deals where they're able to go to investors and say, hey, look, value us at more because we're doing more. And they're actually not. If that's the actual case, there's a level where like that should be kind of illegal. And I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying I think it should be. Because is that not fraud on some fundamental level? Am I wrong? Like you're just openly kind of telling everybody, hey, not only are we dangling out this bait for you of a job that we actually don't intend to hire you on for, unless you're just fucking awesome, but it's also like, oh, hey, Mr. Investor, please invest in my business that employs 150 people when it actually employs 120. Like, if that's actually what's going on, that's kind of fucked.
So
Yeah,
I almost have it in my head. I almost have it in my head of where the benefit is. Just give me a few more seconds of just
All right.
racking it up here.
All right, let's do
I'm on it.
higher thinking. Yeah,
Oh, you put me on the spot.
I am.
Yeah. Roy, repeat the question.
So I just kind of gave a general surmise that I think it's the reason that everything's kind of sideways is that these
is
companies
that like somebody's a fraud, yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's kind of like low key fraud is how I'm kind of looking at it. Where I don't think it's illegal.
If you're lying about your numbers, bro, and like if there's a target that needs or a condition that needs to be met, and then you're fabricating your numbers to be able to reach this. Am I getting this correctly?
That's kind of my point, because I know if you lie about your accounting, right, the money, that is illegal. You'll go to jail. But if you lie about how many people you employ, I don't think there's anything against that, actually.
Well, if it's a loophole, it's a loophole. But if nobody's gonna clock it, if there's no rule set against it, I'm sorry. If there's no rule set against it, then nobody's gonna clock it. So but I mean, I'm just saying if it is, then yeah, of course I will call that fraud for sure. But
It's probably more social than it is like fiscal, right? So it's like they post these jobs online that say they open up in a community, whatever it may be. They're like, hey, we're trying to hire members of the community. We're trying to offer jobs. We have these jobs posted. They take them down because no one's applying to them, and you can't keep a job post up for like 6 months, 7 months. Everyone's gonna think that's a dead post anyway. So I think you have to refresh and recirculate. But it could be something to like maybe investors, maybe you said there's no tax benefit directly, but if you're like,
I can't find one.
If you're a company,
sorry.
So if you're a company, if you're a big company and you're like, and like, for example, like Florida's trying to get a lot of tech companies to move to Florida, like Miami. I know specifically they want tech companies to come to Miami, so they're giving them a tax incentive to come down there. I think the implication would be like you're going to come down there, you're going to bring a lot of jobs with you because you're going to need people to like hire through the community, and it's like that might not just be the case. We might just have job postings.
So you think that you have companies coming into an area and posting that, hey, we're going to be hiring for this place that we're going to open up on this day, and then they actually don't follow through with it? Is that what you're kind of getting at?
It might follow through on some, but not a lot. It might be a really weird way to drive foot traffic, right? Because like there were a lot of sandwich shops that had job postings that I called, and they're like, yeah, no, we're not hiring. And it's like, personally, when I see a job posting on Indeed, I don't just apply online. I see the job posting, I apply online, then I go to the business and I like try to strike up an interview with the manager either that day or that week or whatever it may be, because I know that there's like there are thousands of applicants online.
I actually just remembered one, and I'm pretty sure that it's actually at least 30% of the problem. If you're talking about just job postings to actually what's there, is I think about 30% of them are actually bot harvesting, because almost every time I go through and actually apply for a good amount of jobs, I'll get random spam calls for about 3 to 5 weeks, and
Spam
it's fucking
text
annoying.
over here. I've been getting the same like dock worker offer for like the past like 2 weeks. I mean, actually like 2 months. But I mean, for the most part, man, I don't know. I'm a little bit out of the game here because I have been employed for like the past like 7 years at the post office. But like,
He's an asshole, sir.
so that those motherfuckers always hiring. If nothing else, if you guys are desperate, it's just that they're gonna. It's extremely intensive labor. That's just the worst part about it. I mean, I live in Chicago, man. Somebody's always hiring in Chicago.
Hey, we got another Midwesterner in here. What's up?
Jesus.
Yeah, man, for sure, man. But so it's definitely for everybody that's really struggling out there, and still it's basically like listening to the things that y'all kind of talking about, especially regarding like the quote unquote ulterior incentives to for these job posters and stuff like that, and little games they're kind of playing. Like these are people's livelihood that they're kind of playing with. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I said with them, and then when we have an administration that's kind of like using like skewed numbers and stuff like that to try to perpetuate some sort of some sort of idea that, oh yeah, we're doing a good job, when I mean clearly I just told you have to have, how do I put this? You have to meet three qualifications to be considered as unemployed, when being unemployed really literally just means you don't have a fucking job. But you have to but they make you do make you qualify like in these different ways. When I don't know, I'm not gonna get too far into that, but all I'm just trying to say is that it's really unfortunate that they're really preying on people's lives the way that you guys kind of explain it as.
So Hippie Jesus.
One thing I did want to kind of
go ahead, finish up.
I was gonna say like one thing that kind of one thing I'm kind of noticed that we didn't touch on yet as far as a contributing factor as far as why these I think, what was the question you asked earlier? I wish I should have wrote it down. But like when you was asking, like, what are some of the reasons that some of these jobs can be taken down or something like that? I want to say it may have something to do with the fact that I mean, at least what's going on in Chicago is a lot of stores being closing down lately. From like Walmart's to plenty of Walmart's been closing down. Walgreens has just announced like them closing down a bunch of stores like that. They just closed the Amazon hub, which is really big for a lot of people, especially after that big after they just got that really nice raise, really generous raise. So yeah, it's so there's there's a lot of opportunities that's being stripped from from these people, these people that live in the community, stuff like that, people that really desperately need this work. So yeah, I just think that's a contributing factor as to why we don't why we have a lacking in these job postings.
All right. So Hippie Jesus, you had some qualms about some things that were said in the earlier portion of this conversation.
Just a tad bit, yeah. I mean, yeah. So I had quite a problem with Social Logic and Tiberius. Tiberius, I'll start with you. How do you think these like ghost job openings are affecting the job openings of Statistica and like the Bureau of Labor Statistics? Do you think that that's really making a huge dent in those numbers that it's like falsifying the information? Or I need you to explain that.
I mean, there's a level where it's potential. The problem is that depending on what your source is how thorough it's counting. Last time I checked, BLS actually doesn't account for anything that isn't a filled job. They don't even actually count openings outright. You have other things like Statistica that do to some degree, and then you have others like who's the big employer magazine? It's not Economist. God damn it! I just was looking at it the other day. I forget what they're called.
I mean,
but
US
no, like
Bureau of Labor Statistics, Table 1, job opening levels and rates by industry and region, seasonally adjusted. I mean, that's it's directly from where Statista was taking their information from.
okay.
So I can send this to you, and you can say that it's fake, or that the ghost job openings are sullying the information. But I'm just curious if you think that the fake job openings that are opening up and then immediately being closed are greatly affecting that information.
I don't know how bad it is, but I would be surprised if it isn't at least 3% of the problem. It might be as high as 30. I don't know. But I definitely see a consistent problem here.
Well, I mean, you say you can see a consistent problem, but you can't tell me whether or not it's 3% or 30% affecting, give or take, plus or minus.
Dude, fuck you and your debate bro shit. I hate every time that you do this, dude. Like, you're just coming in to fucking do dunks and shit. I'm not here to have a debate with you.
I'm not doing dunks. I'm testing you on your knowledge here. You're saying things like you're like you know this for a fact. And when I ask you one question about the stats that you're using that I gave to Lethe and you gave a bullshit answer, I'm asking you to provide your knowledge here. You probably know more than me. So I'm giving you the foundational source here of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which you said didn't account for this number, which it does. And I'm asking you whether or not it's affecting this number.
Please, when you say it clearly does, tell me, what is their actual fucking process for counting job openings? Because most of the time, they're actually going to the employer and saying, hey, please, because of your tax, God damn it. They go through the tax system because you have your federal codes and your state codes, and they go, hey, they give you a call, and they're like, how many people do you actually have employed, and how many jobs do you actually have posted? Mm. There's a level where they're probably giving them the real numbers because you tell the government they're wrong.
I just need to know whether or not you think it's an under-over on whether or not this is like highly affecting or not really affecting the numbers.
I can't give you that information because I have a hole in my information. Because I can look at BLS, huh?
It's a pretty gaping hole.
Yeah, that's why I try not to make like massive affirmatives. I don't know where you're getting that general idea from. This is why I'm calling you a fucking debate bro. You're pinning me to the wall on something that I left pretty fucking open.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm asking you to specify your information. Good God, if only there were no
It's vague for a reason.
Panel. You're on a debate panel, dog.
Well, it's not a debate panel.
Yeah, this isn't a debate panel, dude. This is just a fucking chat. If this was a debate panel, I wouldn't fucking be here. I'm generally just here to shitpost on the internet.
Did you not say that it was only 3 people on this panel, and then Lethe would just?
I was cool with 3 people on the panel. I was like, hey, yo, it's just 3 of us.
And I came in here to talk to you about what you said.
Great. And now you took something that was fun, that was chill, and you fucking ruined it, as you always fucking do.
I don't know. I'm having a blast here, and it seems
I'm sure you do, because you're a fucking troll.
Oh, no. It's a troll to ask you a genuine question about the information that you're talking about?
It's a troll to literally come in and be like, yes, I want specifics on your vague post, when I'm like, yeah, it's purposely a vague post.
Oh, no.
Like, I generally delineate this shit.
Hold on, wait a minute. I just need to be clear. What was my original question to you?
Your original question was like, hey, how does this, excuse me, like, do you think this is a massive problem? Right? How big is it?
No. My original question was, do you think that this is affecting the job openings numbers dramatically or not at all?
And I said,
you said 30 to 3%.
I said, 3 to 30. I don't know. Like, dramatically would be 33. And not at all would be 3.
I don't know how big it is because
So that's why I asked you. That's why I'm asking you these questions, because when you talked to Lethe about it, it seemed like you were pretty set in your knowledge that, hey, these people, they're just creating jobs and then getting rid of them immediately so that they look like they're bigger than what they are.
I said that was a part of my personal experience.
You know this.
Like, and I said, like, there's possibilities here. I think there's some that's more than others, right?
God, I really
like,
hope
I think
that
the boss
post doesn't shove so far up your ass you can't.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, I'm not here to have this kind of conversation with you, dude. You're just like, oh, I'm having an argument about Finn's post. No, I've actually been pretty clear about this. You're just a cunt, and you want to argue.
3%
Fuck off.
to 33. You're giving me like, hey, this isn't really affecting it that much. That this is dramatically affecting it.
And I said from the start, I don't know, dude. Do you literally have nothing better to do than to fucking troll post on the internet? What are you, fucking 13, dude?
Now, buddy, I can be here, dog. Listen,
oh
all right?
God.
I'm done with my 15, 16-hour nights, all right?
All right, look, if you want to do that, look, no, look, dude, I get it. You bust your ass. You are an electrician. I give you credit. You know what you're doing.
Do I just have all this time in the world to shit post online, or do I bust my ass at work? Which one is it, dog?
Are you, right. Dude? I'm actually trying to go with you and compliment you, and you're still fucking trying to fight me.
Let's get this.
Goddamn, dude.
Let's get this locked back in. We have other people here, and we don't want you guys fighting throughout the entire panel.
True, and then I'm just going to be really nice to Soft to Social, since he's not going completely unhinged when I ask him a simple question. For your question was about the unemployment numbers. Do you think that TikTok e-commerce is affecting the unemployment numbers dramatically, or what's your?
I just don't know if you count if you're like.
There you
go.
Tom.
I've seen a lot of people online. Personally, and just like fucking making a lot of money. I don't know if it's like considered a job if you're making like $1,000 a week on TikTok, or if like you're making $100,000 a week. I just don't know if they're considering that in the unemployment, because if they're just considering like, you know, going to like an actual establishment, working, or like having like an official job. But I don't know if they're like counting, because like some people are just like begging for money on TikTok. It's not necessarily work. I don't know how they're counting that.
Right. From my experience on like TikTok Shop and like buying something on TikTok Shop, or like talking to people who sell things on TikTok Shop, it doesn't work the same way as like the regular e-commerce thing where they buy like bulk from China and then like sell it for wholesale price in like America. On TikTok Shop, from my understanding, they actually have like businesses like, I don't know if you can show alcohol on here, but Frost Buddy, or like the new thing where it's like the double arm like monitor mounts on your desk. Yeah. I feel like you actually have to have like a set kind of thing to sell thing on the TikTok Shop. You can't just sell like random stickers and things. But I don't know. I could try to open one and see what it's like.
So I've made some money on TikTok. So there's multiple ways to make money on live, whether it be just like being on live and people sending you gifts or stickers, which equate to money.
Galaxies, baby. Give me the
galaxies. Yeah, give me a galaxy. Give me a dog. Give me a money gun. Whatever it may be.
Jason Nash.
So you can do panhandling. You can do battles, which is like people competing to get the most points, which is the majority of how people make money, which is also why I'd be questioning it. And then there's selling things on TikTok Shop, which is like basically you make a video. There's a link to the item. You go, you buy, and it's basically like an affiliate code. You get a percentage of the purchase made.
Their monetization is like absolutely
insane. It's
like
insane.
Like as soon as I sat there, I was like, okay, I figured this thing out. There's like a whole nother level. Like apparently, if you bring guests on, they have to be on there for like 15 minutes for you to actually get any kind of bonus points. Like that's a little tiny detail that you don't actually fucking see. It's insane. Anyway.
There's the various ways. So I don't know if they're counting. I don't know if when we're looking at unemployment, there are a lot of people who are like TikTok, like not even famous. I have 25,000 followers. There are people with like 30, like 100,000. They're not necessarily like famous, but they're definitely making a lot of money. And it is just asking people to send you money. They're technically donations, right? They're considered donations. When you're withdrawing your donations.
Yeah.
I don't know if these people are considered as unemployed, right? And then
Lactoid, thank you for the raid. W raid, thank you.
Raid.
They're not classified as unemployed, right?
Yeah, so like, you're not, because you're just withdrawing donations. And if there's a lot of average people doing this, because all you need is 1,000 followers to go live, and you can start doing this. I don't know. That's probably fucking with the unemployment numbers, right? Like when we're seeing like these jobs, no one's applying for these jobs. Why? No, that's probably a good reason.
Doghouse, you
And,
might.
I started out on like doing like debates on TikTok. Like that was like my thing. Like
I've
I
got
would
the
go
answer
live,
for
put
everybody
like
who's looking
prompts.
for it. By the way, I've got the answer right here from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, who like how they define employed, and one of those would be TikTok. Like if you're self-employed, they would consider that employed.
Are they counting it
alright.
as? Are they counting it through as a 1090 and then going through there as like, hey, this is a job like this person occupies?
So here, I'll tell you what they
Even the
don't
donations.
I'll put here what they consider not following or not consider employment in the CPS: volunteer work, unpaid internships, unpaid training programs not sponsored by an employer, National Guard or Reserve duty, ownership in a business or farm solely for investment purposes, jury duty, which is funny as hell, work around one's home, such as cleaning, painting, repairing, or other housework. In order to be considered employed, you have to have worked at least 1 hour as a paid employee, worked at least 1 hour in their own business, profession, trade, or farm, were temporarily absent from their job, or worked without pay for a minimum of 15 hours in a business or farm owned by a member of the family. And then it says for criteria 1 and 2, the work must be for pay or profit. That is, the individual receives a wage or salary, profits or fees, a payment in kind. For the self-employed, this includes those who intended to earn a profit, but whose business or farm produced a loss. So and it says see definition of self-employed for further details. So
All right, I don't know if I want to just assume that the government's massively incompetent here, but I do want to ask kind of a follow-on question to what sociologic was going on. Doghouse, do you know if like they have a good apparatus for counting the gig economy to a large degree? Like, are they able to actually count how many people can make $20 a week off DoorDash, or $100 a week?
My understanding, I've always understood it to be a survey that's done. And that's why it's so I don't know the actual process behind of which like how they determine the gig economy. Now we could talk about how the gig economy is like growing.
Yeah, because like a lot of these people have like multiple like overall jobs. A great example is that you can work for DoorDash and you can actually work for their competitor Uber at the same time, right? And you can literally just bounce back and forth. Does that count as 2 jobs that you're occupying at that point? Because if it does, I would think the jobs report numbers would be like over 180 million, right? Because there's a shitload of these positions.
The definition they give for the self-employed are people those who work for profit or fees in their own business, profession, trade, or farm. Self-employed people may be classified as employed before their business is in operation if they spend at least 1 hour during the survey reference week in activity setting up a new business, such as search. Yeah, go ahead.
So like, well, I was gonna say, I don't know if that would count for TikTok. I don't know if you were saying that earlier, but TikTok is literally just like, you're not getting a salary. It's however many donations you make, and you're just withdrawing it to PayPal.
Well, it just says who work for profit or fees in their own business, and they even kind of like.
That's what I'm saying. You don't need an LLC, and you're not working. That's kind of what I'm saying. Is like you're just withdrawing it to PayPal. Does that count? Because you don't have to like. I don't even know if you really have to submit those to taxes. I don't think you do.
I'll tell y'all right now. I'm not claiming to be. I'm literally just reading from the definition.
Well, just because I know a couple people who have made like couple $100,000 a year off of this like app, and it's like they didn't have to report that to taxes because it was all donations. It wasn't like.
Oh no.
Yeah, they changed the laws on that.
Last year.
Was it only last year? I swore that was a couple of years ago.
If it's done through like Venmo or which I know a lot of people on, if you do it on PayPal, Venmo, or any of those, it's required that you report that income. And I'm not coming out of this from a CPA. And if you want to, you could even technically say that any money, if you were to go and mow somebody's yard, that technically you should probably report that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the old rule was that literally if it was over $1,200, even as a donation, it qualifies under gift tax. That was the old rule, and now it's been superseded by the new. Is it the new IRS rule, or is it just like a new tax rule where it's $600?
Maybe all these people are going to get hit with tax fraud in the next couple of years. I don't know.
I think they're just going to let them pass.
No. It depends. This is like why I tell people too when like we talk about like funding the IRS. Like I cheer for it, and this is one of the reasons why I think the IRS union has supported Kamala Harris, because Kamala Harris actually wants to like help make their job easier, as opposed to Donald Trump who's like, fuck the agents. No, we don't want the agents in there. I'm like, bro, the agents are what's trying to help the backlog. But anyways, depending on if they get audited or not, what would end up happening is they'd probably just be required to pay some of the back taxes. Fraud is when there's like an actual intent and like a mens rea behind it, and there's like an actual criminal element. If you're just like, hey, I didn't know about, all this, then yeah. But like, there's something that where you like tried hiding the money and shit, then you might be. That's not legal advice or tax advice, by the way. Okay, just saying.
Doesn't that link back to
because
the?
when I first started like in my apprenticeship, like I needed like another source of income, so I did DoorDash, and then like shortly after I started doing it, the next year they started the rule like after $750 of total earning, it would need to be taxed. It's now like taxable, and you had to fill out a 1040. And I remember like I had no fucking clue, and I did my city and state taxes and all that shit, and then my 1040 came in for my DoorDash, and I needed to fucking claim that on that, and I'm like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
And I'm fairly certain that TikTok it can like fall under the same rules as DoorDash, as like a 1040.
Well, I'll tell you this. I want to mention something because I saw somebody in chat mention this. It's actually half and half, Jenny. So when it comes to the IRS, there are multiple different agents. You have your revenue agents. You have this other agent that I can't remember for the life of me. And they are the ones that audit. So you have your auditor, and then you have your Internal Revenue Service. What is it? It's like a investigation division or whatever. They are the actual, like, they are actual police officers, law enforcement officers with a badge, with a gun. And so when you saw a lot of people talking about, you know, arming the IRS, that was not in reference to your typical keyboard paper pusher who is like just processing your tax return. It is essentially the police arm of the IRS. And yes, they are there. They're not there to just come to your door and
the
say
IRS SWAT.
Right. And most of the time they work in conjunction with local law enforcement. And most of the time, if you are being greeted by that IRS agent, then you might have possibly committed tax fraud. So at that point, you're well beyond just you didn't put the right 1 and 0 on your tax return. Okay, that's not who these people go after. They usually there's like a whole long step before they actually get there. So,
All right.
but anyways, I wanted to mention that as an FYI.
Cool.
So if there's any other insights that we can get on this that anybody would like to elaborate on, we can go to the second topic. So anybody have
I just
anything
really
to say
embrace social not crying like a little girl when asked questions.
Oh God.
You okay? Well, all that I'm gonna defend Ty just a bit. He was saying he wanted to chill, and you kind of came in hot. He did say he was just chilling. You were like testing him. He was like, I don't know.
Look, I was told there was no
shit.
pushback, so I came to provide pushback.
Well, I mean, listen, if we farmed the content, Lethe, this is on you now.
That was not the intention. I just wanted to allow somebody that had an issue with.
Oh, there's
something that was
definitely going to be a
stated.
chat.
Lethe, I think you're a great host. Okay, I think you're doing a great job. I feel like your income shouldn't be taxed after this. Like you should be exempt from here on out.
Oh, the butter is real.
Let's go.
Like,
Fucking
yeah.
butter that bread,
Great.
goddammit.
All right, it's in the biceps. You know, the strength to hold up the Twitch pole.
Those little things, those are like 22s, bro.
Hey, he's holding Twitch pole up. You hear me?
So
He's probably holding the pole, not the Twitch up though. Okay.
What's topic 2?
So on to topic 2 is releasing nonviolent offenders sending a bad message. What would create a better outcome in the future? The snake burglar pleads guilty to 54 felonies and is released for time served. In Riverside, California, a multi-convicted felon dubbed the snake burglar for his method of burglarizing businesses pleaded guilty on Thursday to more than 4 dozen felony charges and was immediately sentenced to a jail term, which he was expected to avoid serving along with 12 years probation. Christopher Michael Paul Jackson, 33 of Riverside, admitted to 54 counts of burglary under a plea agreement with the Riverside County District Attorney's Office, resolving all of his pending cases. Superior Court Judge Gary Polk certified the terms of the agreement and imposed the sentence stipulated by the prosecution and defense: 7 months in county jail, 12 years mandatory supervision, and Polk also ordered him to pay $158,235 in victim restitution. Jackson was behind bars while awaiting adjudication of his cases, and because of that, in addition to mandatory good time credits under the California Penal Code, his 7-month jail term appeared to have been satisfied, enabling him to be released for time served. However, Polk ordered that the defendant wear an ankle-attached GPS device for the duration of his 12-year period. Unfortunately, this case is not uniquely named, although uniquely named, is not unique in California. District Attorney Mike Hestron said, "It is unconscionable that a habitual offender like Christopher Jackson can steal hundreds of thousands of dollars from hardworking people, admit to it, and legally serve less time in jail than the time it will take his hundreds of victims to recoup their losses." Is this a terrible way to handle nonviolent offenders, or should he be serving jail time? Starting with higher thinking.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have too much of a big opinion about this, but I don't know. As a capitalist, as somebody that is okay with how things are kind of run and it run, how the economic framework in America kind of runs, I'm just in support of people paying what's owed and stuff like that, especially when they commit to crimes that's to the detriment of some of people. I mean, that's just, as you just said, like people lost hardworking people lost money from his actions. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just generally in support of people like serving the proper time so that it sets a precedent that other people won't come in and attempt the same things with different people, like ultimately disrupting the economy. Like the economy is already suffering as it is. Last thing we need is crazy snake burglars like doing extra shit to make things harder working people. I don't have much. I don't have a huge opinion about this too much at all. Just the systems is just let's set the rules in place, and then anybody that wants to break those rules, bro, let them serve their time, and then help us just at the very least set the precedent. But he's not gonna pay them people back to any capacity. He's not gonna do enough. I don't know. Community service. He's not gonna the work he does within the confines of the prison is not gonna equate to that. At the very least, like again, let him do the service fucking time, and then we can so more people will learn not to do such heinous things or won't commit to such heinous acts.
Thank you. Let's move on to sociologic.
Okay, so like yeah, burglary bad. Don't steal. So we could just start with that. But now, I don't really give a fuck if people steal. I think the incentive is on the people to not get stolen from if you have things that you don't want robbed, especially when it comes to businesses.
Based.
To me, you know what? It creates more employment, higher security, right? You can get the people that drive around your little store. It costs a little extra to your business, but you're creating jobs. So more benefit to your business, and you're standing in the community. Fuck. I do have a hard problem. Like for me, it's like just return the money that you stole, or fuck this person's taxes. You can garner all their wages, make them work, whatever it may be. You can put them on probation. They don't get a job, you can send them back in jail. The issue with jail is that we pay for people to be in jail. So it's one of those like lose-lose situations. But also these people don't want to be in jail, so it's like, yeah. I mean, 3 times, you go to jail for a year. I think that's a good enough. Or you can do probation, and your 5th time you go to jail for a year. I think that's fine enough. I don't think anyone's getting their fucking money back. But yeah, businesses pay for security lest you get robbed.
Awesome, thank you. Tiberius.
Yeah, I struggle the fuck out of this one ethically and morally on a couple of different levels. There is definitely the social conservative in me that's just like, hey, if you're stealing from people, I don't like you, right? Like I've got some issues. On the other levels of this, though, is that I don't think that like kind of beat the crap out of them and throw away the key is a very effective measure, not only as a deterrent, but I don't think it really is a good punishment. There's a couple other levels where even the punishment is kind of icky. Great example. This particular person has been ordered to give $128,000 in like some level of payback and restitution, right? I don't have a problem with restitution outside of the fact that effectively what you're doing is you're making somebody kind of an indentured servant to a large degree to the state. And there's a level where like, I still find that kind of icky. I don't really know exactly what we're supposed to do here. Like, I think there's definitely a problem. I don't like stealing. That makes me fucking pissed off. And it makes me want to do bad things to people. But beyond like what I should do as an appropriate, like, intelligent citizen that can say, hey, this should be the appropriate punishment, no fucking idea. I'm gonna move on.
Thank you. Hippie Jesus.
Dog, I'm still reading this.
Okay, then you can go after Doghouse. Take your time.
Well, I'll summarize because I just went through and read that like rapid fire. Okay, so this is what this is
Please,
what
I'm struggling.
this is what a professional streamer does. Okay, you pull shit up and you have to read it within 2 seconds. Okay, so for anyone who's unaware, this whole thing stems from a law called AB 109. AB 109 was implemented in April of 2011 to try to stem the tide of California prison systems being overrun. The population was just absolutely growing. One thing we have noticed is that actually property crimes in California have actually been on the decrease. They've been on the decrease since it looks like it peaked in 1980, and it's at a rate of 6,881, and it's down to 2,273. Now you're probably wondering what effect did it have on passing this bill? Well, at 2011, it was at 2,594, so it's gone down by about 300 over the past 12 years. And again, this is something that's been in place for a long time. I think property crimes, generally speaking, yes, they have issues when the person who's being robbed is like getting got and they're not happy about it. But typically, if it's a business, they're probably gonna have some kind of an insurance thing or something like that. We should definitely try to do what we can to incentivize it not to be stolen from. But again, I think when we look at 54 felonies, it's important to keep in mind that it's probably because the dude probably like went and robbed a whole bunch of didn't rob. He probably went and just like went into a bunch of places. And again, I think burglary, if I'm not mistaken, could just be let me see here. Come back to I'll come back to me as we're doing this, but prison population has been on the rise. So the prison population is still increasing in California. So I think, look, if it's a nonviolent offense and they show that they're not going to reoffend, however that process may be, I say let them be on the street. And then guess what? They're on probation. So guess what? If he violates the probation, dude, homie's going to prison, California prisons. And anyone who knows anything about California prisons, you thought he got on the street. He gonna get got in California prisons. Anyways, I'll go ahead.
Thank you. Hippie Jesus.
Yeah, reading the article that you sent me, Lethe, it definitely seems like the dude shouldn't be like 12 years on probation. It seems like he should be spending those 12 years in prison. The previous sentencing that he pled guilty to 23 felonies and was ordered to serve 6 sentences of 16 months in jail. Whether or not that was consecutive or like at the same time doesn't really matter. If it was consecutive, then I would have been 8 years, but he only spent 10 days because of overcrowding. If anything, in his next offense, that should have just carried the fuck over, and now he should be spending 12, like however long of his probation was in that prison system, because he didn't get the time spent that he should have spent before. Like there was no restitution. There was no I'm so sorry, I've been drinking. I don't know the word. He didn't learn his lesson, basically. So he just basically got a slap on the wrist and then was just told, "Hey, good luck out there, bud." So yeah, obviously he should spend time in jail. I don't understand why the 12 years probation and what was it, like 70 days or 70 weeks in jail that he spent, the time spent, that no shot.
Okay, so with the idea that it costs over $100,000 to keep a prisoner in jail per year, and that when you're in jail, you're pretty much already an indentured servant anyway, how does this help the taxpayer? And with the fact that he has $158,000 sitting on his head, that's probably going to be garnished wages, how should we handle these situations in the future? Do we need to build larger prisons? Like what exactly do we need to do for this?
Well, okay, so let's be abundantly clear too. The legal definition of burglary is just entering a structure with the intent to commit a felony or theft, and the ultimate sentence for this is 1 year. That's the max sentence that you could be sentenced to with burglary. And I would challenge anybody, if you would want him to be have his sentence served in prison, then you'd have to look at the fact that they would have to run those sentences concurrent. Now, I don't know if a judge can split it and say, well, we'll run 28 concurrent and 28 consecutive. But if you were to run those 20 or the 54,
That's
yeah. If they were running 54 consecutive, then or concurrent, whatever. I always mix two up. No, it's back to back to back. That would be 54 years in prison for burglary, which I think is well beyond any kind of constitutional limit. There is a constitutional right besides excessive. I think it's like excessive punishment or whatever it is. So yeah, I'd be very cautious of having somebody sentenced to prison for 54 years for entering a structure with the intent to commit a felony or theft. And
10% of the 10% of the offenses occurred, right? So 54, offenses, 5.4 years.
Yeah, I mean, you could sit there and say that he should have been sentenced longer, and that's a fair assessment. But I think again, I go back to him being on probation for 12 years is pretty reasonable. Him sitting in a jail cell, if again, it's up to the judge. If he's not going to reoffend, and they have to assess, the judge has to look at those things. Is he going to reoffend? Is he going to be a flight risk? Is he going to do all these different things? If he's not a risk to a reoffend, I don't see the big deal with something like this. Now, if it were like he committed 54 like murders, yeah, homie should probably be on death row in California. I just think that burglaries are one of the one of the ones that are like just a high enough felony that's just kind of only just above. But yeah, I think that's just, I don't know.
Thank you, Change.
So I'm gonna channel my inner Lactoid and Gibbs here. Bring some spice. Okay, so
holy shit.
Everyone's played. They
a source that's a Facebook video too.
Yeah, something like that. A Bing link. So indentured servitude. Now, listen, if you're committing a bunch of crimes and you just like full out like did it, and you got to work to pay back these people that you stole from, I have no problem with the government taking your wages and supplementing and doing that. Like, I have no issue with that. For younger people, I've always said, because you have like, before this becomes a problem as an adult, for younger people, the problem is like I don't think juvie works. I don't think putting them in jail works, right? I think for me it was like military school. Like they go to a boarding school where it's like a military school type situation. So if like you have someone that's like constantly committing crimes, I don't mind like an adult military prescription for people, where it's like they go to like training, they have to be there for a year. I feel like it teaches them fucking some type of like structure or whatever it may be. I think it's better than prison. I think prison, you don't really gain any benefit or whatever. If they want to continue to be in the army, fucking go for it. Right?
It's cheaper too, man.
Yeah, cheaper, and it's at a greater benefit to the individual, because you can learn a lot in a year of the military.
I don't know if I love this idea or hate it, but the theme of thievery guarantees service is going up in my head real fucking hard right now.
I'm just saying.
I okay, like there's a level
54
where
times clearly this person needs some structure in his life.
All right,
this person needs jail.
Yeah.
The guy's 33.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
33. There's no like, this isn't like kid decided to swipe a candy bar from a stop and go. Like the kid went to multiple businesses.
Yeah.
Like not even a
year and a half of boot camp.
This grown adult went to multiple businesses and sold hundreds of thousands of dollars.
He'll come out healthier,
worth of merchandise.
He'll come out.
All right, so basically, this is the point.
From the pastime with 23 counts. Now he upped it. He wanted to get rid of those rookie numbers.
Because you said, because the recidivism rate for jail.
All right, sociologic. I got to ask you to bite the bullet a little bit here. Basically, I'm gonna straw man this, but I want to see if you actually bite it a little bit. Slavery is good whenever you steal enough money.
Not slavery.
Disavow.
It's indentured servitude. Let's be real. Come on.
I'll be. Wait, this is a white guy, so it's okay. We can say slavery is okay here.
Okay, so actually, I have more details on his release, actually. So, and his crime. So, like, he actually stole, which is actually pretty fucked up. He stole from restaurants, health clinics, medical offices, and beauty salons. And he's been ordered to stay at least 100 yards away from those businesses. So the first thing I'm thinking of, can you order someone to stay away from an ER? Homie's gonna get freaking like a broken leg, and the ER is gonna be like, "Nah, I'm sorry, don't violate probation." He's also been required to complete a 6-month residential substance abuse treatment program. So I think there clearly was some kind of substance abuse, which also I think plays into this a little bit. And to wear a GPS monitoring bracelet for the duration of his 12-month mandatory supervision. So yeah, again, I think it's fun. Yeah.
I just want to know where a year and a half of boot camp doesn't solve these issues. I just like someone tell me, and I'm being a little serious. A little trolly.
For real, we used to do this.
A little trolly, but very serious.
No. We used to do this. It was a major option if you wanted to get out of like excuse me, like a theft crime and whatnot. If you were kind of a constant problem, the judge would offer you, hey, you can go to the military or you can go to prison. And there was a lot of people who went to the military. What do you think the actual result of this was?
They got out. They did more crimes. They should go back and stay there forever now.
50-50 shot. Actually.
50-50, I feel like it's better than the recidivism rate we have now.
It actually is. So, there's a level where, like, if you wanted to make these guys part of the National Guard and basically use them as, like, manual labor to, like, throw up sandbags and shit, yeah, you're making this sound a little sexy, okay?
I'd make a sick Republican if I was Republican. I'd be a sick Republican, okay?
It's not hard to be a good Republican if people just have a conscience.
Apparently
MAGA doesn't have a conscience, but, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I need someone to tell me how it doesn't play out. So, like, I'm assuming Doghouse, you think this would be, like, not good?
It'll kind of help if we went to military school.
My Discord took a shit, so I missed that entire fucking thing.
Anyways, so so the issue is, like, are you talking about, like, the military service thing?
Yeah, like boot camp. You don't have to go like in the military, but like some type of, like, you have to go through the 1 year boot camp, whatever the fuck it is.
The problem is like there's so many angles to this. This is such a problem. But the first thing first is that they would have to completely repeal the regulation that, like, prohibits this. There's actually a regulation in place that prohibits you actually serving in the military in lieu of your sentence. And the Navy doesn't have the right. Yeah,
they waiver this shit all the time. This is literally how Samantha got into this.
They may have waivers. I only read through, like, Google, so blame my Google research. But no, it could be. But, like, if you have someone who has, like, a substance abuse problem, do I want them going to the military and they're, like, tweaking out while they're trying to, like, go through boot camp? I don't know if
different.
You want them going to prison?
I think that's
wait. Is prison a better alternative?
I'm not saying prison's a better alternative for people who are going through rehabilitation. I think rehabilitation programs are better for them.
Yeah.
But I'm saying
bring back the wards. I'm dead serious. Closing the asylums was probably a mistake. All that ended up happening is those people end up going into prison. That is literally
I think
we've shown
fine.
this.
I think I'd be fine with, like, maybe misdemeanors and maybe some limited non-violent felonies. But, like, anything, like, short of, like, for example, burglary might be fine. But if you have, like, aggravated assault, any of those violent felonies, then yeah, no, fam, you're not going to the military.
No, you gotta make them into SEALs.
No, fuck that.
Actually, it's not SEALs.
That's how a war crime gets committed.
Well, it's like sometimes you need to have a couple of dogs on the chain. Okay.
Hey.
There's a level where I'm memeing here. But
I wouldn't take that for granted. That sounded malicious to me. Get him.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
I'm about to come
so what
off
about
the
for
chain.
younger? What about for younger kids? Like, they're like, I've been on many panels where, like, we've had a discussion about, like, just young boys that are kind of lost in their way, and, like, I don't think
I'm cool
juvie
if you
works.
do this shit up to 40. My general issue is ethically on, like, are we. Like, we largely as a society have abandoned the institution of, like, indentured servitude. It was bad, right? It was corrupt as fuck. So I don't want to start treading that direction again unless we've thought this one out a little bit. Like, on the level, you make it look sexy. There's a level where it's just like, hey, look, you wronged somebody, you got to make it right, and you're gonna fucking work this shit off. And, like, there's a old-timey conservative vibes that just works out really well with me on. The little bit of inner liberal that I actually have is kind of, like, scared shitless of that. For, like, one level or another, it's like, no, we believe in Christian forgiveness, y'all, you know? Unironically. I don't know how to square that circle. There's a level where I might just have to get rid of the ick. But I'd have to, like, think about that one for a little bit.
I don't think for youth. I think it should be an option. I would say that's probably fine. Or they would have to serve out their sentence and then end up, like, still being allowed to serve in lieu of that particular crime being off of their adult record or something along those lines. I do think there's still an element to, you know, incarceration or an element of punishment that needs to be included there. We can't just say, okay, hey, guess what? You can go serve the military and then like be done with it and say that that's fine. I think there still needs to be some element of punishment, but that's just kind of a feels. That's more of a feels argument than it is really like based on any kind of like data or statistic or anything like that.
No, I'm with the feels. I'm with the feels on this. You don't think being under like a drill sergeant, being forced to wake up at like God, whatever knows what time at random and doing like all the training is like more punishment than sitting in a jail?
We do have some youth boot camps like already set up, where it is similar in that way of a military.
They're voluntary, right?
I don't know if they're voluntary. Sometimes the judge may order them to it. I'd have to look at that a little bit more, but I believe they are. There are some out there, youth boot camps. Not in the sense of military. That's a whole different thing. But my entire view of like just the criminal justice system entirely, for like to reduce recidivism, I think starts really at the core stigmatization of a felony in itself. So I think if you start there and you work your way back, that's probably how you get there. But for me, like I think that if you have a nonviolent felony, you should have your felony removed off of your record if you've had good behavior for like 5 or 10 years.
Agreed. Less 5 years, but like I don't think the stigma's with the like felony. I think the stigma shouldn't be on the felon for nonviolent violence. So I think the biggest issue is that like someone commits a dumb crime, whether they're like 19, whatever it be, they're stealing, they drink underage, whatever it be, they go to jail, they get some type of record, right? It's the fact that you went to jail that people have like an issue with. That's why I do think like the not military conscription, once again, like some type of boot camp or some type of like actual like training into society back, right? Would benefit, because like instead of you having gone to jail, well now you went to this like program that is like was intended to like enhance, like once again give you more structure, a little bit of organization, a little bit of like, you know, whatever it may be that you were missing. Parental guidance at the fucking very least, and a slap on the wrist.
I mean, I
Doc
agree
House-
with you.
Sorry. Yeah, I want to go around with you on this one, but I want to talk to you later about post institution felonies, because there's a level where I'm like, I definitely get why you maybe don't want this person to vote, or at least you maybe don't want this person to, be kind of have their record expunged because they did something unspeakable, like rape or murder, or even more heinous shit that we can come up with, right? There's definitely a level of other stuff where you can get a felony for, which is understandable, but can we forgive you for that after you've served your 10 years of doing whatever it was, right? Particularly like white collar financial crimes. All right, cool. I don't want to give the rich another fucking chump off because they don't deserve it, but there's a level where it's like, if it's definitely like either nonviolent felonies or
I think that there's actually like an argument to be had that white collar crimes are actually more harmful than there is on lower level burglaries. And what I mean by that is like, for example, with white collar crimes, we could point to things like Bernie Madoff. We can point to things like the FTX person who ended up stealing thousands and thousands of dollars and potentially even people's retirement plans, which does in essence real harm to actual individuals, as opposed to, now listen, I know this is me probably going a little bit on the lefty here, but if you have like somebody who walks into a CVS and steals a bottle of cologne versus somebody who stole thousands of somebody from their retirement plan, I think that the white collar crime is actually done a whole lot worse than that person who walked into a burglary.
Sure.
You've got a hell of a point there, because there's levels where going after the elderly, particularly in the ways that they do, for scammers right now, fucking bothers the hell out of me, and there's like nothing to defend them, like at all. That bothers me greatly, and if you ever catch one of these people, like I want terrible things to happen to them, right? So let me delineate here. There's levels where you get, what is it, a felony after $750?
Grand larceny is a thing. It depends on the state.
Okay. I'm thinking at least in Indiana it's $750. It might be like $1250. But long story short, like certain levels of that I kind of can get, but there is levels where you're totally right. You don't want to send a business, bankrupt. You don't want to make a person go bankrupt, right?
Yeah.
But there is a little bit of that like Robin Hood exclusionary zone, like no harm, no foul, if it wasn't like a huge deal. But I think that needs to be, I guess, on the burden of the person who is the offended. Just be like, hey, can you give him a pass?
I think also a lot of times these words kind of scare. And listen, I'm not trying to minimize any kind of crime. You shouldn't commit any crimes, okay? But think about that dollar amount, right? $750 to $1,250. That's like one TV or some like 2 or 3 handfuls of tools. So when you think about like $1,250, even that kind of has a stigma of like, oh my God, they ran off with the bank. It's like they may have run off with like a TV. So again, maybe this is my lefty coming out. I don't know. I'm not saying that it's okay to do these things.
I'm
Yeah,
having
you
the same
are.
problem here.
Yeah,
like,
you are. It's okay. Listen.
There's
listen.
a damage threshold here, right?
Stealing bad, but we know stealing exists. It's a very simple like thing. We're not okay with stealing, but also you can say that you don't give a fuck that someone steals. My first panel ever was a thievery panel. You guys remember the lady who ran off with the cart of meat, and everyone was like
Yes.
recording her and trying to stop her. So like my whole thing was like, dog, like what the fuck do you care if someone was stealing a cart of meat? It makes no effect to you. You're not gonna get any points with the business for reporting it. You're definitely not gonna get any points with the business for stopping it, which is the same reason I don't think employees should give a fuck if they see someone stealing, because the company isn't going to pay you anymore. It isn't going to benefit you. Now some companies give you some cash, a little bit of like, store money, whatever the fuck it may be, But at the end of the day, like if you're gonna risk your life for a store that isn't gonna do anything for you, fuck it. Why do we care? So it's not so much that like you endorse stealing,
Yeah.
but you don't care.
Okay, so this is where I kind of take both circles into effect here, because there's part of me that's like of the right wing side where it's like you are part of that company, at least in some degree or another, right? They pay you a
Nope.
wage, you go do stuff. Whole minute here, and this is why like I kind of want to see like the pocket socialism with worker co-ops. It's like, make it where you are invested in here. Make it where it is actually a problem for you, because that's the level of investment I want people to actually be involved with when they work somewhere. I'll be real. I don't like the people who just put in for 40 and they're done. I want people to actually have some skin in the game. I'm totally cool if you're like, hey, benefits and whatnot, but I think if you had like ESOPs, if you had worker co-ops, if you had a lot of these deals where people like slowly buy in as they work there, where they get stock options or some other thing where they're like part owner of the company, this would encourage a lot of good behaviors.
Yeah, but then their pay would go up, and I would complain way less. And I'd say
Yeah.
they'd have a right to complain. I'd
Yeah,
say that,
like
but,
unironically, like
until
Trojan
we do
horse
that.
socialism. I don't care what you want to call it. Like, there's a level where I will totally take it, because I think it literally marries the best parts of capitalism and like the idea of actual socialism together pretty effectively. It's like you want people to be able to invest their capital, but you also want people to be invested within that business itself.
And I guess,
One day I went to the store and I had $2 in cash on me at the time. It's I went to buy some chips and some fucking Hostess snacks. All right.
Please don't tell me you're about to talk about a crime that you committed on.
No,
stream. Please
no,
don't do it,
I'm about to
sir.
commit. I'm going to tell you a sadness.
Oh no.
I went to the grocer or to the clerk.
He took too many samples, guys.
No, with 2 little bags of chips that were $1 now. God, they're also $1 now. They used to be 2 for $1. They're $1 now, the little ones. And then I went with 2 Hostess snacks that used to be 50 cents. And the guy told me when I gave him my $2 that I did not have enough money because the Hostess snacks were now $1. I don't give a fuck about these businesses, and the workers shouldn't give a fuck because Hostess snacks are $1 a piece. Chips are $1 for a little bag, and I don't blame people when they go to the grocery store and they want to steal the food that the fucking grocery store throws away at the end of the week anyways.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't care.
So
Either make the meat cheaper so people don't steal it.
one of my old glory days of working in retail, I had some lady walk in with her kids, and she put down like a bag of Cheetos and like some other things or whatever. She put down a bag of Cheetos and she's like, "Oh, I left my card in my car. Here's my insurance card." And like handed me her insurance card, and I did not see her come back. She dipped off with the Cheetos and everything and just left her insurance card. I'm like, okay. I looked at it, I'm like, oh, it's expired.
Nice.
I was like, that's great. That's genius.
Got him.
But yeah, like I think, and I see a lot of people in chat talking about like, oh, at least the higher prices, guys. I want to be very clear here. What I'm saying is that when we're talking about certain felonies or certain punishments and things like that, to me, if someone steals a bag of Cheetos versus someone stole like 50 people's retirement funds, I would think that the punishment should fit that particular crime. I think the person who probably stole a bag of chips should get a ticket and then be on their way. I think somebody who stole everybody's retirement fund should be locked away in solitary confinement for the rest of their life. Okay, like that's how I look at it. And then I mean, to me, it's not to say that they should continue to do it. And I understand that some people, especially on the conservative side, tend to look at crime as all punishment, zero rehabilitation. But I do think that we have to kind of assess that. Now, let's be very clear here. Should the person be a habitual offender and continuously steal chips, then maybe that crime should start to go up. And in a lot of cases, we have that via sentencing guidelines. The sentencing guidelines are already in place to address that issue. If, in fact, we could look at like DUIs, right? A lot of people look at like somebody who got sentenced to a DUI and got probation and be like, what the hell? He got a DUI, he could have killed somebody. Yeah, but did you know that certain states have 3 strike laws? Where if you end up, I think it's, I believe it's 3 strikes, that you could actually end up serving, I think it's like what, life? I think it's something like, it's some crazy amount. It's a crazy amount of things. If you get sentenced to like 3 DUIs, you can serve some serious time in jail. So that's built into our criminal justice system. I don't think we should sit there and because somebody stole a bag of chips, we should just throw them at the bottom of the jail and say, oh, you did this. You should go. Like, no.
Yeah, there's a threshold here. And like I wanted to talk to you guys about like where the threshold was on some of this stuff because like I don't have the answers to half the shit. I wish I did, but I don't.
That's why I'm here, Ty.
Exactly. This is why I wanted to chat with you. Where the hell have you been?
It's not life. I stand corrected. Under Texas law, it's if an individual is arrested for DWI after 2 prior drunk driving convictions, a third offense can be charged as a felony. So then at that point, they can be sentenced to prison. So it's not life. The minimum. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It is almost life. I take that back. It looks like if they do that, they can end up serving. Where is it?
Minimum or maximum, right?
Yeah, for under Texas law, a third conviction for DWI is classified as a third-degree felony. In most cases, the courts are required to impose certain minimum mandatory punishments, including a fine. The court can impose jail time in the Texas state prison system for not less than 2 years or more than 10 years. So you can serve a pretty lengthy sentence. Yeah, 2 to 10, and a fine. So
the real answer, honestly, the real answer is that like these stores need to hire security so they can catch the burglar or catch the thief because stealing is bad and you should get in trouble if you're stealing. I'm just saying if you're going to be a thief, be the best thief, don't get caught. And if you're going to be a store owner, be the best store owner, have security because if like the way it works out is you're either going to lose money because you know people are stealing from you and now your business is going to get shut down, or you can just spend a little bit less money, have security around. But if you're a store and you can't afford to have security, I kind of feel like your business is running thin anyways, shut down before you have to shut down at that point anyways. Like it just.
Yeah, there's a conversation about profit margins I want to get into, but I'm not going to, right? Like that's just gonna be a buzzkill.
And let's just acknowledge too, there's been some recent news about like I think it was today actually that they announced adjusting the crime statistics for 2022. I just want to make an announcement to anybody who ever saw that. Yeah, it doesn't change much and only makes it much more dramatic. They did not adjust 2023. They adjusted the 2022 crime statistic, and they adjusted 2022 upwards, which means that because 2023 stayed the same and there was already a decline, it just made the decline even much larger. So yeah, factually it didn't change much. It just meant that crime is still going down at a pretty dramatic rate. Anyways, just wanted to address that even though nobody was really talking about it.
Solid. So yeah.
Sorry, I got a lot to get on my chest, you know.
I mean, this is one of those topics where we see a definite imbalance in how laws are enforced, who gets actual jail time versus a slap on the wrist. You see people stealing millions and millions of dollars and going to club fed versus people that are stealing to live that are ending up doing some real time or just for like petty drug offenses. Like, I don't think people literally want to sell drugs usually. That's not something a lot of people want to do. So to sit there and penalize people for something they usually don't produce are selling for their own livelihood. I don't necessarily like the outcomes, but there has to be a better way than putting their life on the prison system, which is instead on the taxpayer in a for-profit prison while doing so.
I'm definitely on board with having a national like ethics conversation on like how we're doing prison, like rehabilitation versus punishment. 100% on board with having that conversation. Also 100% on like actual severity of crime. I'm thrilled that we're having a conversation about reclassifying pot, right? I'm thrilled that we're having a conversation on what was it? Lock them up, throw them away the key when it came to drug crimes. It's like, hey, like you're just a bad person if you use drugs. Now it's like, oh, shit. If things just get bad, people use drugs. Amazing. But apparently it took us this long to figure it out, right? Yeah, I'm glad that we're having these conversations, but goddamn if it wasn't a little too late, right?
Well, the thing, and I want to mention this too as an FYI, and I think me and Leith have had this conversation before. Not every prison is for profit. In fact, it's actually a very small percentage of it. I am liberal in a lot of things and lefty in some, but for-profit prisons are typically very small portion of the prison population. And from my experience in Texas, not that I was never in an actual prison serving time. Let's be clear about that. Those private prisons typically are for exit programs, reentry programs, and they're used for drug rehabilitation programs. And in Texas, particularly, they're used to house illegal immigrants for who are being deported and things like that. So that's actually a big portion of it as well, is that there's a lot of immigrants that are in those particular prisons. But yeah.
So did anybody see this thing? Like, this is the other thing that kind of spurred why I wanted to get to this one, was that prisons were sending their prisoners to go work at McDonald's and other fast food restaurants.
I hadn't seen that.
Please tell me that actually didn't happen.
So apparently they can't be out and working and paying taxes and being functioning members of society, but they can work behind a counter at a fast food restaurant when they don't want to.
Was this a work release program?
No, they are bringing them to the location and then taking them back to jail at the end of the shift.
Yeah. So it's they're paying them less. They're paying them less than minimum wage too, I believe, the way it works out. Yeah, we discussed this. It is insane that like McDonald's.
I'll be right back, guys.
If we're gonna do this, if we're gonna have fucking like prisoners going and working, the fact that like a chain like McDonald's, which is already trying to like pay its workers as little as possible, kick out workers by having like fucking AI and robotics come in, and now on top of that, they're gonna have to pay less wages to like by like hiring prisoners through this program that they're trying to start off. It's just like it's starting to prove more and more to me that these conglomerates and these huge businesses really can't operate without like slavery or like indentured servitude, man. It's like American businesses are a flop when it comes to paying any of their workers, or like it's just disgusting.
Like indentured work release. I do have a little bit of an issue with it, but I've seen people do it, and there's a level where I think it's actually pretty practical, because there's a level where it's like, if you get arrested and you get sentenced, right, your life can be kind of over in jail or, prison if you're in for even a remote amount of time, right? You're missing your mortgage payments or whatever else. Everything's gone by the time you get back. Work release kind of gets around with that, so there's levels where it's like you're semi-operational. You still can work. You can still pay your bills. But like you don't get all your freedoms, right? That doesn't bother me too much. Outright having them bust people into McDonald's, bro. Number one, like that's favoritism to any one particular corporation. They would have to, or literally offer it to anyone. We'll bust prisoners in if you want them to work there. Like you'd have to offer that to everybody to make that even remotely fair. So yeah, there's got to be a way that's fucking illegal. If it's not, God, like it needs to be. It absolutely needs to be.
Yeah, when it's
there-
already a
there's
for-profit
so many
prison, and then on top of that,
Oh, is that what happened? A for-profit prison did this shit?
saying maximizing
Oh
that cash.
my god. Okay. For real, I mean this. I have a terrible issue with for-profit prisons. I think if there's anything you just want to be like, nope, this is going to be on the taxpayer's dime, this would be the one thing, because this is the one place you really don't want to have corrupt if you can help it, right? You don't want a profit motive for prisoners. You never want to encourage that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And we are. That's wild. How did this happen? Holy shit.
The things we
Money
allow.
talks.
I wanted to be like Lethe, so I put a tank top on because it got hot as fuck in my room.
Tank top squad, let's go.
Put those 22s away, Lethe.
Ty, get that tank top on. You know what's up. You know what time it is.
Bro, you don't want to see this fat bastard in a tank top, all right? That's not going to work. I get my weight down a little bit, you know, I work out a little bit, maybe we'll have
Listen,
be
just
tired,
get tattoos. People won't care.
Bro, I'm a fucking, like, 5'8" redhead. Like, no.
Shout out Blizza for my tattoos. For the
Oh, that's
recent
right. He
ones.
did them, didn't he?
He did.
Nice.
I saw the caveman
Nice,
in person.
nice.
So how you're
He
thinking?
did this one right here. He colored in the Pennywise right here.
Nice. How you're thinking? We haven't got much word from you on this one, so we're about to end up. So I'm going to give you the last word on this.
Nice. Definitely learned a lot. I kind of coming with pants down because I definitely don't know. I'm definitely not the most learned as far as the prison system and stuff like that. Definitely learned a whole lot today. Is one of the biggest things I learned today was like only 8% of I think in 2000 it raised to 5% from what I'm saying of prisons being profitable. And this is something I definitely thought was a thing for the longest. I thought prisons was definitely making people money, especially knowing so many people investing into like prisons. So that's something they want to put more effort into studying. But yeah, prisons is definitely something crime especially is something that's very much so plaguing like the Chicagoland area, especially like, you know, my people in Chicagoland area. It's kind of what you was kind of touching on earlier about people kind of having to commit the crime because there's not much opportunity for them in the inner city, especially urbanites and stuff like that. It's usually about, I mean, unless there's some, you know, some kind of mental instabilities and stuff like that, which there's a lot of. It's kind of about the opportunities that's made available. You know what I mean? So our mayor, like he's claims to be dedicated towards the uplifting in the economy and into investing into the youth and stuff like that, into the education and through that nature. It's all out of a lot of that stuff is still kind of to be seen and stuff like that, especially with the vast investments of the illegal immigrants and stuff like that. Again, and I want to believe that he had a lot of good intentions for inner city youth and stuff like that, or just generally the promise that he made, which, like I said, was specifically targeting the lack of opportunities for inner city youth and stuff like that. But again, like this, you know, Texas, you know, no offense, my guy, but y'all sent a whole lot of shit out. Your governor sent a whole lot of shit out direction. And we gotta deal with that first. But yeah, definitely this is super important shit that I'm very much so appreciative that you put me on this panel so I can be so I can at least absorb. Oh my god, look at all these tank tops. Holy shit.
Oh my god.
I'll know what to do next time. But yeah, man. Yeah. Y'all need to read One Punch Man. There's the whole tank top squad with y'all names on it. You
tank top tiger, let's go.
You already know that.
What is the tank top version of the Akatsuki?
But yeah, for sure, bro. Yeah, again, I couldn't be more happy that y'all made me part of this conversation, so I can adopt a lot of this good information you guys share with us tonight. So yeah, man. Again, higher thinking representative of Chicago Black Delegates podcast found on YouTube. We talk about politics. We talk about social and economic issues and stuff like that. Check us out whenever you can.
Sticking around for the open?
Well, I'm just
Say it again.
I was asking if he's sticking around for the open.
He's definitely more than welcome to. We have an open panel after the main panel. I just want to
a little bit.
Everybody gets an outro. Yeah, I figured people got things.
I feel that I need to eat a little bit myself. No, I wanted to ask him, like, when we get to the open panel, like, what's your biggest issue that you care about? Like, I want to kind of hear you fire off. Like, what's your biggest issue, and what do you think we should do?
We can get to that. Sure. I want to make sure anybody needs an outro. I'm gonna let room for people to get out of here if they need to. No hostages, no indentured servitude around here.
Fuck.
Look, I do have to go, but real quick, Lethy, just saying, flex off, baby. Who's got it? I got it. All right.
Let's go.
Let's go,
Appreciate
baby.
You, Doghouse. Thanks for coming through. Saving time.
I didn't realize Doghouse was jacked.
Hey, I go to the gym.
I'm construction worker build, dog. There ain't nothing here but just beef.
Brother, dude, doesn't work anything like that. Pushes paper, this guy does. And look at him. He's totally jacked. Makes me look scrawny.
No, Ty, this is called that like hustle mentality, okay? Remember how I told you?
Oh, yeah, you get up at like 4 a.m. to go to the gym.
I'm not even bullshitting you today. This morning I woke up at 4:30 and I went to the gym, and then I ended up going to work, going to school, and then I came back here and got online, okay? And don't forget that
grind.
All throughout, by the way, because this is my shout out, by the way, kind of subtly throwing that in there. All while also staying on Twitter and somehow managing to get 3 likes from fucking what's his name, Mark Hamill. Okay, I'm grinding out here, baby. Okay, I am trying to keep up my shape, my mental acuity, my job, my social media grind, all of that shit.
Doghouse on it, being one of the best Americans he can possibly be. Let's go.
Right on the couch.
Hell yeah, baby.
Doing the dad grind.
Well, yeah, hey, and I'm trying to keep that dad bod down, okay? Look, shit.
I am failing, okay? The scale did not like me the other day.
Look, you know what, Ty? Here's what I'll do. Instead of going to Lethy about workout advice, since we all know that I'm more jacked than Lethy's 22s over here, you can come to me, all right? I got you, fam.
Past since April, I've lost 50 pounds because I've just been eating chicken and fucking and vegetables and fruit and shit.
Chicken and broccoli.
I splurge every once in a while and get some fucking chicken, like fried chicken. I can't live without fried chicken.
That's your biggest problem. I'll tell you. Look, I got as y'all start.
I got a Dr. Pepper problem.
Oh,
I bleed KFC gravy. All right.
Look, this wouldn't be an outro for me if I didn't mention something about nutrition advice. The biggest thing that you pointed out is your oil issue, and you're also probably having some kind of like carb built into that fried food as well. Ty, your biggest issue is high fructose corn syrup and sugar. You pretty much know that.
Oh, I know. Like if I could lay off that and just make sure I'm like not pig out eating, which I can kind of do from time to time, I'm good. But good God, dude, if I slip up just a little bit, all that weight comes around.
I'll give both of you guys unsolicited advice, okay? For you, try out Zevia. It's not the same as Pepsi and Coke and everything else. Try out Zevia. It's a soda alternative. And for my man over here eating fried chicken, listen, I cook my fried chicken in olive oil, and I try my best. If you don't like really using flour for your flour, try using some cornmeal or using panko, or don't be afraid to use some pork rinds. Pork rinds you can use and crumble them up too. You can do that.
I already do that. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So perfect. So if you're doing all that and you're cooking it in like olive oil or cooking it in coconut oil, try to get like I think it's like virgin or something like that. That can help you too. Don't think that you have to get rid of certain foods. Just choose better alternatives.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I've when I started my apprentice, actually, that shout out, I took the Blizza to get his first tattoo. No, he like we went to the store and we got like chicken, and he was just like, yeah, just kind of like don't use too much seasoning. And I'm like, dog, you just want me to eat like white chicken? Like that it? And like I'm not doing that. So I just got some turmeric and I just started just doing it in turmeric and shit. And just the little spice adds so much more.
That's one thing I tell people is like stop looking at things like so like like just as like the macros, look at some of the things, like think about it, like what are you eating, is it going to benefit your body or not, flat out. Like if I'll make like a whole bunch of things about like with broccoli and stuff like that, and you don't have to like make really shitty meals. A lot of people think that you have to eat broccoli and like chicken and rice and shit. It's like you can do a whole lot more stuff and still be jacked. Okay, look at me. All right, stuff. Anyways, guys, I'll stop bragging,
buddy.
but yeah, catch y'all guys later. Don't be afraid. Check me out, guys.
Check
On
out
Doghouse Show
Doghouse.
on Twitter. Okay, check me out
We
on
appreciate
YouTube.
you.
Okay, I need to get up to freaking like 500 to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I'm struggling for my life to get past 105. Okay, it's tough out there. Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Anyways, all right, guys, y'all take care.
It's like farm the important shit.
See you, buddy.
The
Yeah.
trains.
Absolutely. All right, guys, take care.
All right, Tiberius, you had a question
right.
for higher thinking.
Yeah. So just
I'll be back. I'm gonna
repeating-
get elevated myself, Ty.
Yeah, let's go. All right. I unfortunately I can't stay very much longer. But higher thinking. Seem interesting. So I want to hear you passion off because this is the first time I've gotten a chance to chat with you.
Appreciate
What's your biggest issue and like what do you think should be done about it? Is my
Oh.
big question to you, man.
Oh man, I mean, well, dude, right now I'm just mostly focused on like kind of like Coach War shit. I mean, and it's not really specifically pertaining to like big systematic changes and stuff like that. Right now, I'm just my platform is like mostly circulated. What's up, bro?
Up, Razor.
My shit's mostly circled around again like things that's like I'm noticing my culture kind of getting caught up on and kind of like losing yeah, like that's for the most part like pretty much it. Like people like let me go straight to an example just to
Please.
kind of make it more easy for me to explain. I'm noticing too many like guys get caught up on like the red pill shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to offer it like alternative like think pieces, alternative like perspectives to the way men kind of digest this whole dating concept and shit like that. Because what it's doing right now is like leading our guys against away from women and shit like that. And it's and like basically what like I said is then it leads to like this passport brother situation. And like what a lot of guys don't really seem to understand is when you kind of separate from like the group, you know what I'm saying? Separate from like America, and you invest like you take your body, you take your hard-earned blood, sweat, and tears and money to other countries because you're taking like your like, how do I put this? You should be contributing towards the group here in America, and instead you're devaluing yourself and losing you're losing worth when you move to like these third world countries to find a fucking bride, when all you have to do, if you really want a bride, all you have to do is just I don't know, like learn the culture here and be like more of an impressionable or personable person here in America. Like these girls, like they're not that complicated to figure out. All you gotta do is just, you don't necessarily got a piece of their delusions and stuff like that. Just like a lot of time you gotta just be able to smell your own shit and like be able to give grace where grace is due. So like that's just like one aspect of it. Other aspects is like politics, like interpretation of like politics, not falling for like basic ass okie doke bullshit. Like I mean, what's this?
Don't fall for the sake. Don't fall for the snake oil of the red.
Don't fall for the snake. I mean, for this, like, and here's another quick example. Like, like Kamala Harris has to be black. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't need to be worried about her race. It doesn't matter if she's Jamaican. None of this shit. What matters is the policies and how it affects like your communities, how it affects your families, you yourself. Like people just like, I'm just noticing too much of people getting too caught up on the things that truly doesn't fucking matter. Like the only thing that really matters in this politics shit is the policies and how it's going to affect the economy, how it's going to affect your pockets, how it's going to affect your community's pockets. Like I'm just, like I said, my platform is primarily focused on just clearing up misinformation, deconstructing a whole bunch of narratives that's like this, essentially confusing people. You know what I'm saying? If ain't, it's not, obviously it's not something that's only black people going to be able to take home from, but it's just something that my algorithm, like I'm just saying, my algorithm is primarily like black shit. I don't know how your algorithm looks, but my algorithm is pretty much like a whole bunch of black people saying a lot of shit that doesn't make any fucking sense. And that's just I'm just trying to contribute. Yeah, it is what it is. And I'm trying to contribute towards the side that makes them that brings logic and reasoning to the myriad of like narratives that's essentially plaguing everybody's algorithms right now. So
my algorithm is
yeah.
nerd shit. I'll be real with you.
Congratulations.
Mine is all like cop body cam stuff because I find that funny.
Mine's Rhea Ripley.
Wait, what?
Wrong site. Hold on.
Hell yeah, dude.
So I hope that answers your question. But like that's primarily what my
yeah.
platform is like primarily focused on economics and just helping people realize that there's more going on than what like makes you how do I never mind. This is Twitch. I gotta relax.
Stuff that makes me mad. Yeah, a lot of like big content creators nowadays, at least the ones that want to talk politics, they don't actually want to talk actual politics with like policies and ways that can actually help people. They majority of the time want to post and say shit that will piss people off, make them angry, scared, and
It's Parks and
just
Rec
anxious.
politics. Like that's literally what we have. We went and said we wanted reality politics. We wanted politics to be sexy and interesting. And look what we got. We literally got Parks and Recreation politics. We're not doing the newsroom. We're not doing the West Wing. Parks and Rec. That's what we bought.
The thing is, like, politics in a way could be made sexy if it weren't for even without doing the misinformation shit that the right constantly does. Like, does the left sometimes do some misinformation? Not to the same degree, but still. But like, we could, without misinformation, you can make things sexy. Like, go to any fucking comedian any comedian like Jon Stewart or John Oliver who are out here doing comedy bits, but still reporting the news. It's fucking
the most informative people on TV are comedians.
John Oliver does great work.
That's so unfortunate.
No,
Why?
like no. Okay, I know most of these guys are left-wing content creators of some sort. Whether it be Bill Maher, whether it be fucking who's the big one on HBO? John Oliver,
John Oliver's
right?
great.
Yeah,
you've got Jon Stewart to some degree, although he's kind of like back of the ether right now. And then you've got
he's gotten back and he's getting a lot of attention since he took over the Daily Show again.
Wait, Jon Stewart's back
Yes,
with the
he's
Daily
back.
Show?
It's, Trevor Noah
For like
left,
a year,
and he's
hasn't
been
it?
back for a while.
No one told me, motherfucker.
Motherfucker, turn on your TV.
Huh?
I said, motherfucker,
His
turn on your
clips have
TV.
I don't have cable.
His clips
You
have been
have
all over
YouTube,
Twitter,
though,
and if
right?
you follow the Daily Show on YouTube, he posts constantly.
Yeah.
All right, I'll have to double check that shit. Anyway, my problem is that like I fully admit the right wing is brain drained. It fucking sucks. There's like hardly any smart people in the right anymore. It's a lonely island over here, and I'm not too fucking intelligent myself. So we can just go from there. On the other side of that is I do genuinely enjoy watching some of these content creators because what they do have to say is informative, has some nuance and some details that a lot of the only thing that I even seen in media that rivals this is a full in-depth report from 60 Minutes. Like, that's it. There's nothing else that's that level of informative or nuanced or like, hey, this is actually what's going on in your world. John Oliver fucking kicks ass. Bill Maher doesn't do the informative shit, but he at least talks about like what's going on and actually brings attention to some of the other stuff that I would not hit on my radar at all. He makes it funny, but like seeing the panel actually chat, yeah, it's great because people are actually going to have a conversation. There's not a lot of that. There really isn't.
And I will say, like, with the reason for said brain drain that you're talking about is because that's the plan they've been putting in place for the past few decades. The right wing Republicans really do hate education, which is why Project 2025
I mean-
talks about elimination of the Department of Education because a dumb populace is a controllable populace, and they just want control.
You're getting malevolence out of here when it's actually just stupidity.
Razor
Like
blade
it's not
swinging.
like, oh, we want to make these people like make them loyal legal voters. Guess what? All of those people who may have actually had that plan no longer control the Republican Party because it's been cooed by the psychopaths. Okay, so even if this was malevolent, those people are gone now. So let's move on.
Heritage
what-
Foundation is a lot of either the kids of those people or are still the same people because they're all
No. Heritage is like, I don't know how to say
What's
this
his-
in the way that I
What's
want
his
to.
name? I think just recently on a episode of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, he did a thing about federal judges and brought up a very specific Christo-fascist nationalist who is part of the Heritage Foundation that Trump got the names for Supreme Court justices that he put in. I forget his name.
that's 100% true. Like the like Trump's getting his Supreme Court picks from Heritage. Why? I have no idea. Like who that man decides to listen to at all is weird because
Anyone
it's
who
clear
strokes
he
his
only.
ego.
It's not anyone who strokes his eagle because he'll flip on you in a dime, or like literally on a, excuse me, he'll flip on you like a dime, right?
Oh,
We've
true.
seen people
But,
that
like-
he'll. One day
Yeah,
he's like, "Oh, he's the best thing ever," and the next thing it's like he's a fucking cunt. And he'll-
Again, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
anyone who's currently at the
Like-
moment stroking his fucking ego, he will be like, "I love this man. They're amazing."
But does he actually listen
He
to
lo-
them? Because there's some people
Well,
he clearly
or
doesn't
to make-
listen to.
to make it to where they get like attaboy, like get an attaboy out of them? It's like he wants the attaboy his father never gave him. He's a complete fucking man child.
I'm really curious what the actual relationship is between Heritage and the actual Republican Party, because like I don't know how much Republican actually gives a shit, or how much Trump gives a shit. When it comes to the party affiliates, like they're clearly pushing a legal doctrine, right? Like I get that. As far as like how deep they're involved in half of this shit, it doesn't seem like it's that much. It's just like, hey, you guys have the bench for everybody that we need to put up to actually fill these judge seats, and they have nowhere else to go. I don't know anyone who's actually competing with Heritage on anything regarding legalism within the right now. Like most of the people who were like libertarian have literally packed up their shit and gone either independent or Democrat. It's wild.
I'm just trying to be sure because I need the name. I'm forgetting the name. It's been a hot set. It's been a couple of weeks since I watched the video. So, well, not a couple of weeks. I think it was like last week. It's been a couple of days, so I forgot the name of the guy. It's like specifically one guy. His name escapes me right now, but he very specifically made a list and had a plan to try and put in a Christian nationalist agenda into our system, and the way
I mean,
to do
that's
that is
the
to control
Republican
the
Party
courts.
now. It is literally
And
the
it's
party of
him.
evangelicals.
It starts at the guy I'm talking about who who works with the Heritage Foundation, which is right now in my opinion, for now, but I'm pretty sure I can find some evidence on this, that the Heritage Foundation is literally just every single right wing think tank all working together with Heritage at the top. And they just go out and pretend to be like, "Oh, we're an independent source." Tim Pool, fuck you.
Hey, don't say
haven't-
that about Comrade Pool.
Look, I haven't seen Heritage take.
Get him.
I haven't seen Heritage try to take over, fucking whatever Shapiro's think tank is, and Prager and all that other shit. Granted, like calling them a think tank is fucking ridiculous because they're absolutely batshit. But like that's what my side is dealing with right now, and I fucking hate it. But yeah, like the information and just like the general level of thought is gone. Like it is brain drained, and I don't know if they recover from the shit. My friend actually gave me an idea that I'm kind of chewing on, where we're going to see the Democratic Party do what happened originally to the Democratic Party when the Federalists kicked the bucket. I'm kind of curious if that actually is what happens, where the Republicans just eat themselves to death, and then the Democrats split.
Why do you still claim them like on your side? Like the people on when you say like the people on my side, like there's me
Because
who's on
I
the
am-
left.
I
I
am
separate
w-
myself from like the lefties and like the socialists and communists and shit. Why do you still embrace that
Leonard
side? Instead of
Leo.
just saying like I'm on my own deal.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I can put that like I'm an independent because they don't claim me, right? I can definitely be like, hey, I'm just kind of in the middle. I'm a centrist. There's levels where I say that's kind of my side because I'm pretty goddamn socially conservative.
The name was Leonard Leo. That was
yeah.
the name. Leonard Leo.
Who jumped in? Oh, hey, what's up, IPA? I've got levels of social and physical conservatism that I actually do ascribe to and that I appreciate. Oh, more tank tops, hooray!
Hell yeah.
You're welcome.
You're outnumbered.
Anyway,
Todd. Fix it.
It's not that I don't. It's not that I can't agree with lefties or even leftists. But usually when I find that I'm agreeing with leftists, it's because the horseshoe's literally going around at that point. Like,
No,
those
I'm
are
just
far-
saying like if I like talk about like my side, like I'm just talking about like the just the liberals, like the sock dem.
Oh,
the
okay,
moderate
well-
liberals, but you instead of
Oh.
like separating yourself from like the rest of like the crazy conservatives, you actually just say like the people on my side are crazy. Why not just say like you're just a moderate conservative instead of like the crazy people?
I often do. It's just I'm just kind of being a piss baby because I like you have people like me, Connor, Jebtan, that people that even if you disagree with us fervently, Doghouse is pretty much actually straight up jump left unless he's just grifting, which
My man.
I'll let y'all just deal with that in the way that you
He
want to
came
deal
with
with
a tank
that.
top. He's cool with me.
No,
I don't-
like
You're talking about like neocons.
When I hear
well,
jump
okay,
left
let me-
and
let me-
grifting, it doesn't
let me-
work. It's
let me
left doesn't have
separate.
the money.
All right, Gibbs is a neocon. I generally don't like neocons because they worship at the almighty dollar, and that is a terrible god to have.
Mhm.
I do like their militancy. When you're talking about the evangelicals, I hate them because I think they're a bunch of Christian theocrats who are hypocrites in every major facet of their religion. Like they are literally anti-Christians. Like 666, every fucking horrible thing about in the Bible that you're not supposed to be. These people, ironically, are that in behavior. They don't have the crazy. They don't look like Razor, where they're actually looking like furry demons. But outside of that, they're doing all the bad shit, and they masqueraded as
I got
holiness.
Mjolnir too. Don't worry.
I believe you. Anyway,
Oh,
Yeah,
and
like
he's gonna be a pagan. Okay, got it. He's a furry
They're-
demonic pagan. Okay.
yes.
I can't
Anyway.
pull out mine.
So like I don't like the evangelicals
Thank you,
on
Kyle.
like multiple levels. I do like their fervor and their tenacity though. There is some like dude, these
too kind,
fuckers
my
don't
dude.
give up. These fuckers do not give up. That's
Just saw
wild.
115 like gifted subs.
Oh damn.
That's how much Kyle has given to the channel.
Hell yeah.
Hey,
Let me invite you.
greatest mod ever in Twitch chat. The goat of pins.
Facts.
An unstoppable
Anyway.
force. Let's go.
Kyle convinced me to be a man of the people. All the emotes that shout out Jail Smith. He created all my emotes.
Hey, thank you, Razor.
I changed
Hype
them all
train
to
incoming.
followers. So anybody who follows me gets the crazy emotes that Jail makes me.
Awesome.
IPA, how you been?
We are in a
Doing
hype
good, man.
train,
How about you?
level 2 hype train. Let's go. If anybody
Oh,
has
shit.
enjoyed this fine open panel and all these great people here, please consider following and gifting a sub. We appreciate you. Thank you, Parallax.
IPA, I'm debating on doing the Dave Ramsey debt snowball.
So,
Oh god,
saw
are we
your-
really gonna bore people with personal
No, like
finance?
I mean, it's a
Okay.
simple thing. Like I think if I even do this half right, I can be out of debt outside of. Actually,
Hey,
I think
we-
I can be totally out of debt in 2 years.
We are in a
think
level
so I
3
do
hype
have,
train. Appreciate y'all.
so I
Thank
do
you for
have
your
a general
generosity.
question I want to ask. A little bit of a question I want to ask, based on the names that you have here for the Twitch thing, the Reform Edition, stuff like that. Sorry, never mind. Okay, not. God damn it! I worked the wrong word in my brain. Sorry, I'm thinking rehabilitation. In the future, once Trump is finally fucking gone, and the Republicans start start to somewhat mellow back down to
That's a hell of an
whatever.
assumption.
I know like, this is a big
I agree
hypothetical,
with you.
big like assumption.
That's a big if.
Dude,
I hope they I really want them to mellow the fuck out.
That's
but
a
it's
big
like really
if,
hard.
dude.
it is like
But
these
let's
people
say-
hate like everything that they see in the world. It's like they are on a binge.
So
Like it's wild.
okay, let me see if I can reform what I was about to ask then. What do you think is the right steps to take to help towards mellowing them the fuck out? What would you think is the right steps to take? Like, what is,
okay.
like, possible...
Damn. Okay, Razor. I've had this conversation with Lethe because he's constantly like getting up my ass and among other like right wingers to actually take the fight against MAGA. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what I told him. Me, Connor, Jebtan, Doghouse, if he's even part of our team anymore, has no idea how to deal with MAGA. We have no fucking clue because, like, you can't out-rhetoric them, and every single time that you're like, hey, this is actually how to be a real conservative because, you know, we actually have wives and fucking suburban houses and shit. You know, the thing, we're closest to the American dream than anyone else is, right? Out of most of those conversations that we have. These people don't fucking buy shit anymore. It is... Dude, I struggle to have the words for it, but basically is that they don't trust anything that isn't, like, conforming to their worldview. And if you don't conform to their worldview enough, they will just outright disown you. It's not just that they will call you a rhino, they will actively try to kick you out of the out of the party physically. Like, with politics, they will primary you, and they will actively disown you. And so, like, our issue is that even if me and Connor disagree with like Jebtan or Doghouse about how the party's supposed to go, we have absolutely no institutions anymore, let alone any actual effective rhetoric or vehicle to get this party to turn a different direction.
Would you say that that's the what would you put the biggest blame for that on? Because personally, from an outsider looking in, I would say it's the evangelicals.
Okay, the evangelicals for me are the worst by far because it's pretty much just 80% them now. Like, the party literally has just been taken over by the shit that Barry Goldwater was fucking terrified of just like radical evangelical Christianity that is flailing at the wall. That's literally what we have.
Beginning to make y'all Qaeda, as some people have done the joke.
The American Taliban is actually not horribly far off, and I hate to like criticize it that way, but the reality here is that I talk
make fun of vanilla ISIS.
God damn. Look, I don't want to use these terms and just be like say them outright in a joking manner because I'm being dead serious here. Like, you talk to these people and they're ordinary Americans that I deal with every day of my life, right? Whether I like them or not or agree with them or not. But it's like, oh, the shit you believe is like morally, ethically, and politically unsound. Like, everything that you believe that you should know from your religion of Christianity should tell you this shit's fucked. Everything that you should know from a government class on like why we have the separation of powers and like a general level of civics should tell you this is fucking terrible. And so, if you've gone to college and you've taken an ethics course, everything that you've been in on that ethics course should be telling you 90% of the shit that they believe is terrible.
Tiberius, back that truck up like at least 12 years, okay? Like, if you went through 8th grade civics, you understand that the founders of this fucking country left England because of the power the Church of England had over the government.
That was one of the reasons, but very little of that.
It's the major reason.
Okay, the pioneers come over for that. Yes, the reason we secede is not.
Okay, yes, you're correct. The original colonists, I should say, not the founders of the country, the original colonists.
The real colonists, yeah, we're escaping. We're trying to escape religious institution. They didn't want to. They didn't want to follow. They were trying to follow their own gods, right?
Or
And-
if you went through civics at a maybe higher level where probably they didn't cover in 8th grade civics, where you read like the fucking Treaty of Tripoli, where the United States is not founded on a Christian nation.
I
Oh yeah,
Well,
and all the
this
founding fathers all saying that this is not a Christian nation. We
this
are
country
You mean Jefferson didn't
Yeah.
put his name on that paper? Fuck
Yeah.
you.
this country has had an identity crisis over its religion versus its
Get in my
its
PA.
secularism since the start.
Yep.
Since the start, like it's constantly kind of ebbed and flowed against itself because the ideal is that we're supposed to be a secular nation, but we're also like before the atheism wave the last 20 years.
We was founded by all Christians. That means we're a
Like-
Christian nation.
Well, the problem is like over
But they
80%
weren't
of
even
the
all
country
Christian.
until 20 years ago
I mean,
was a
99%
Protestant.
of them are.
it wasn't even that
Founders.
they were number one, like 80% of the country used to be Protestant. It's still something like 40, right? And then like general Christianity is still like something around 60, if I remember correctly. Like even people who are unaffiliated or unaffiliated, secular, unaligned, atheist, agnostic, we're only like 40 or like 35, and then you have like 2% Jews, like 1% whatever, right?
And then for that number you're saying with the 40% and everything, there's a strong chance that in that number are people who say they're Christian purely because they were raised it, but they don't actually believe anymore, so they're culturally Christian.
Yeah, so there's a level where like the religion has a shitload of importance in our country, and we've definitely fought over that.
There's a big issue I have though when it comes to that.
Sure.
Obviously, and it's not like it's not that I don't want anyone to believe in any higher power. I mean, I think it's fucking stupid because like I've spent way too many years in that lie to me. But something I've definitely noticed since actually leaving my faith is that a lot of Christians still in their faith are willfully stupid. Like not on everything else because since they believe in a higher power, they think I don't have to critically think about anything. So why the fuck should I care what the actual truth is? So long as my pastor says it or someone in higher power says it, I'll follow it because they believe that there's a God giving them those commands, kind of a thing. That's a thing. That's the reason why I really fucking hate evangelicals, and that's what's happening with MAGA.
I mean, just evangelicals took over the party, so I don't know what to do about it because I despise most of what they are because they're not Republican to me. They don't embody any of the ideals of what being a Republican should be.
Yeah, my grandmother, she's voted Democrat for decades now, but she used to be Republican, because she agrees with a lot of Republican policies that were back in the past, but she stopped voting for them because they stopped caring about policy at one point and just kept attacking the Democrats. She didn't like how mean they were.
I mean,
That's
I'm
like the Democrat now. She still agrees with a lot of Republican ideals, at least what's on paper, but she votes Democrat because she can't stand how mean and evil
she's probably an Eisenhower Republican, like, which is not far from what I am.
That's a good point that you bring up, right? Like, in this kind of the whole like culmination of this conversation, right? It's on paper, right? On paper, the Republicans stand for X, Y, and Z. And to Tiberius' point, is like they don't fucking stand for this shit anymore.
They just say it,
Like,
and then people believe them.
So here's the weird part. Like, obviously, the Republican Party of 10 years ago is not the Republican Party of today, right? This is not the Republican Party of Mitt Romney. It's not even close. It's not.
No, they worship the goddamn government. They just wanted to do the things that they wanted to do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're just like, oh man, I want small government, small inside your pussy. Like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to.
Small
I'm gonna.
as long as you do the thing, as long as you don't do the things that we don't want you to do.
Yeah, look. I'm gonna have some angry hate mail from this one, but like, I have never seen a bigger group of political hypocrites. I don't think this country has seen a bigger group of political hypocrites. It's wild. Like, everything they bitch at the left for doing, they do themselves, if not worse.
Projection. That's
There's been a lot of
what
it.
the left has been. That's what the left constantly keeps pointing out. But then
They don't care because you're literally
Yeah.
Satan. Like
Yeah,
unironically,
Okay,
you guys
now,
are literally Satan.
If only I could get you guys to understand basic economics, we'd be on the same page.
But they don't. No, that again, as I did, they don't care. They don't want to listen. You can give them all the
left. If I
basic.
could get the left to understand basic economics.
Shots
we'd be on the
fired.
same
No,
Shots
no.
fired.
We understand basic economics. We just think it's wrong. I'm kidding. Kidding. Kidding.
Somebody clip that. Somebody clip that.
I'm gonna have to turn my camera off again after Social said slavery wasn't bad. Like, do I have to do that this time too?
I'm sorry. Okay, obviously, I'm joking on that front. Like obviously a
Speaking
lot
of
of
Social, is someone gonna check on him? He's been gone for a while.
Oh,
True.
yeah.
He
But yeah,
got
like
really
with the
big.
basic economic stuff.
True.
With the basic economic stuff, like yeah, I would like to have a lot more left wing people. At least get the damn near bare bones basics to understanding of economics, so that they can push more towards socialism with actual knowledge.
Well, that's the thing. Most of the people who know economics don't want socialism.
with actual knowledge
Then,
just doesn't
let me-
work
I don't mean
because-
like obviously I'm not talking full socialist. I'm a libertarian. I count myself a libertarian socialist, but
Oh, there we go.
I'm very much like okay with some form of free market. Obviously, the regulation make sure they don't fuck me over.
So you're more like a syndicalist.
Basically,
Ooh, based. I've got some issues on this one. I do have a hell of a time. I fully acknowledge this because I totally get the argument where 97% of scientists are like climate change is real, all that shit. And I'm like, yes, 100%. But then I look at like 97% of the economists and they're like, yeah, free trade is great. I'm like, you guys have to be out of your fucking mind.
a lot of them.
It's like, did you do the backhand math, like for real?
I feel like a lot of those people have to be paid.
Okay, here's my legit conspiracy theory. I think it's literally one of those issues we do have to follow where the money's coming from for who does most of the research and more particularly the funding for a lot of these universities that these people work for. Because I think most of the time what it comes down to is they work for a bunch of rich people and they tell the rich people, hey, you're right. I literally I hate to be the
Those
Go ahead.
economists are correct when you, exactly as you pointed out, when you take the perspective of the top 10% of this country, right? All of those things that they say are correct if you belong to that economic class.
GDP growth good.
The problem is 90% of the people don't. Right, exactly. People measure the growth of the country by fucking like GDP. GDP doesn't mean shit if you're some motherfucker making 60 grand a year getting a tax return at the end of the year. That doesn't do you fuck all good. Okay? It only does you any good if the economy grows and you have some sort of investment into the economy. The average Joe doesn't have that.
Right.
When I
Although
look at it,
we're kind of getting there with
my
like
investments
401ks,
went up
aren't we?
year over year. Great, hooray me! Okay, but the average Joe ain't that.
Well, okay. There's a level where is it becoming like at least semi-normal? Because like, how many people actually have a 401k now? I'm thinking it's quite a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, I hate to say it, especially with inflation at the rate it's going. Your 401k, if it's not north of $2 million, ain't shit. By the time you retire. Not now, but by the time you retire. If it's not north of $2 million, you're fucked.
Oh, I was under the impression, at least from the data I've seen, is that you need about 650,000 to retire.
That usually would be able to cover a lot of shit for a long while.
Well,
with life expectancy being what it is, and the retirement age being what it is, and inflation, I would strongly disagree with that.
Really? I guess I have to
didn't
go
say
over
forever. I said for a while, not forever. Obviously.
just on average. Let me do the math on that real quick.
I mean, and obviously inflation has
on average.
Toby's got like 650,000 if you live incredibly cheaply. If you live extremely like if your monthly output expenses are like $2,500.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, let me just do the math here, because there's a level where like $2,500 plus Social Security, like I think that could cover a lot of people. All right, so average mortality is what, 78, 79, right? I'll just do 79. We'll minus
was
that.
78, but yeah, whatever.
We
Yeah,
got someone running at 78.
Yeah, 78 minus what? We'll say retirement's now 67 anyway. So that's 11 years, and you're going to divide that out by, 650,000 divided by 11 years. That's 59 a year. Like that seems pretty solid. Yeah, that's 59 a year. If you're, that's average, right? Like that's just strict averages.
Like...
You retire at 67 now because of the new Social Security rules, and you're like going to stick it out because you want the full payments. You're getting 59 a year, and you're not even getting Social Security with that.
Like if we can bring down the housing cost and housing and rent costs,
well,
that would definitely go a long fucking way.
I agree to a point, but the problem is that you are talking about the number one group of people that should have their houses paid off by now, or they should. Unironically, here's a.
I guess I'm thinking future. I think I'm thinking future. I know with currently,
catch 22. Should you rent as an elder because you can't maintain the property, right? Or you're paying out the nose because you now have to hire the electrician. Great conversation. I don't know, but like even if you have a rent payment in that, 59,000 at least here, that's a great retirement.
I mean, that's a fair point. It depends, just like what your fucking minimum wage is. It depends dramatically on where you live. Yeah, that's a fair point.
Sure.
The house. Okay, I gotta look at what Spaniard's talking about real quick. Hold on.
Don't do it. Like that's a trap.
Fuck, I live in a state where the average housing cost is like $400,000. Like,
wait, say that last part again.
Mm-hmm.
Said I live in a state where the average house costs like $400,000.
Oh, I thought that was the national average. Now.
No, I don't know. Hang on. What's the curious?
I think the national is like 416,000. Last I heard. Like it's gotten dumb. I don't know who has this kind of money to push the market up this high, but it's kind of related back to
from just a quick basic search.
Okay, yeah, 412 instead of 416. I will take the discrepancy and I'll run with it.
Sure, fair, yeah.
412,000. Where do people get the money for this kind of shit?
We got them.
And damn it, Rich, it's about time for me to go. Why are you like this?
Right on time, Rich.
Get him, Rich.
What if you'd actually be in an open channel for open chat?
That helps too.
Yeah.
Damn it, Lethy.
I mean, I would, but then we all got to reset, and people jump in that probably shouldn't jump in, and you know how this happens. But yeah, a lot of corporations ended up buying up property, and they weren't just buying up one property; they're buying up like there's a South Park episode that explains this. Ty.
True.
I'll be right back. I gotta do my Duolingo.
I mean, it's the same problem that Canada's having. Only like Canada actually has a government program that they poorly regulated that allowed foreign investors to do this on large scale.
Exactly.
Right?
You got oligarchs in other countries that are buying property as money shelters.
Yeah.
Like,
the capital flight. The capital flight thing, and particularly for the coastal cities, is real. Like I'm 100% with you on that. I've seen the data points for that.
That's a big part of it, right? Like if it oh my god, like as much as it pains me to go, here's the simple regulation that the government should step in and go, but like I'm not full anarcho-capitalist. I think those people are fucking morons. Like it's simple, okay? The number of unoccupied residences that you're allowed to own at any one time needs to be capped. Plain and simple.
Oh, really? You actually are
straight
okay?
Up. Yeah. No, because Ty, a lot of a big part of the problem is we have enough houses in America. Okay, we have enough houses. There are enough houses in Canada.
I'm not disagreeing with
single
you.
Fucking person.
This is just a lefty take from you that I'm not prepared for.
No. But I'm not. Look, I'm not going to go like full on social and go, oh well, landlords are the devil. They're fuck landlord. No.
Okay.
It's okay for somebody to own property and use that to generate revenue. That's fine, because some people, and I know several of them, don't want to own a fucking home. They don't want to be locked down to a particular place. They don't want that commitment, and that's totally perfectly fucking fine. Okay, like and you
I'm a-
need
I
rent
mean-
for that reason, okay?
I'm a
But
landlord, so
you
like I get
can't
this to a point.
fucking- You can't fucking have 19 of your fucking 30 properties unoccupied. That's bullshit.
There's a level where I kind of get where you're going with that, and I'm not sure
There's
if
got
I
to
want
be
to
some
go.
leeway. Obviously, like you got to find renters,
Yeah,
minimum leaves, or whatever.
Well,
but
okay,
no.
my general issue is that I don't think that's a lot of the problem. Like here's
It's a
where I think
big
the problem
part
is.
of this high. Seriously, especially in Canada,
Like,
it's worse in Canada than it is here in the U.S.
Okay, the last time that I checked, and like, granted, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, is that like even with all of the corporate ownership that you have of housing, it's not even like 2% of the market, or it's like 2.1 at its worst. Like with the general issue, at least that I'm coming across, that I actually from the numbers that I'm hearing, is that there's two major issues. Number one, we do just have a legitimate housing shortage. We've got more people than we ever had. We haven't been building out like we have or had been. And then what houses we are building out are largely of like 2,500 square feet. And we've got a lot of older houses that are like around 1,000, but we don't have anything in the mid range of like 1,500 to 2,000 square feet that people can jump to. And so we technically have enough houses already, but the houses that people needed to like use as the intermediate step, there's not enough of them. So people can't move from that $80,000 house to that $400,000 house.
Well, yeah, it's because you can't build a house for $200,000 these days unless it's 800 square feet.
And that's kind of the issue, is that we literally have watched the normal house that is 800 to 1,000 square feet is now going for 80,000 to 120,000. But the next jump is not something that's, kind of what was normal back in the 80s of like 1,500 to 2,000. It's you're getting a brand new or, 20-year-old, 2,500 square foot house that you literally don't have enough room for unless you have 3 kids.
Have you stumped IPA?
Oh,
Have you
sorry.
defeated him?
Screen just froze. It no, everybody locked up for a second. What'd you say?
Oh, you didn't hear the last thing I said?
No.
Damn it. Anyway, long story short, problem is assumed to be that you have your average 800 to like 1,200 square foot house, and that goes for anywhere from like 80 to 120,000. So you're like literally $1. Was it ratio of 1 to 10 or 1 to 100?
Right, roughly $100 a square foot. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you get to the $250,000 houses, and they're like double the price per square foot. Which, granted, they're newer and they're nicer, but there's nothing in the center there that is like anywhere between, let's just say 1,400 and 2,000 square feet.
But I would even say that bar has moved further, right? Like that median,
the median's gone.
It's not the word of it.
Like that's kind of the issue.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That scale has moved further up, right? That $250,000 to $300,000 home doesn't exist anymore.
And that's the weird part. Well, yeah, okay, well,
or it's tiny. It's not necessarily. Well, I should say it's easy. It's either a shithole and it could be turned into something nice and it's a fixer upper, or it's tiny.
I'm just
right. Like
my
what used to be $100,000 home and it's 800 square feet is now $200,000.
Yeah, I get that. Like,
Rich, I believe Chad is asking you to get your tank top on.
Yeah, Rich.
I'm sticking with Twilight. Thank you.
I've already.
This goes for you too.
You'll have a good one.
Oh, you're out of here, Ty. Appreciate you, Mike.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming through.
Where the tank tops at?
I'm tired. I burned out. I look
Razor,
terrible
get
in
your tank top. Come on.
I'm sticking with
I don't
Nouveau
think I own a
Twilight.
tank top.
I believe
Topless
that.
it is. I understand,
one.
Rich. I mean,
Cut
we
one.
got to do what we got to do.
I need to get one for these panels.
Okay, if I'm gonna be here with pink cat ears, I'm gonna stick to the whole bit and have the Twilight, have the My Little Pony shirt.
And Tiberius
Or
has left
something
the
anime
room.
bullshit. Yeah.
Wait, doesn't that like clashing metaphors?
A little bit.
Wait, what?
You can't be both a pony and a cat.
No, you can. Those are hybrids.
Ooh,
I'm
I
sorry.
actually saw a deer person today.
Oh, nice.
Wait, with like full on like hooves and shit.
No, so they walked on their on the balls of their feet, and they had antlers.
Wait, they walked on the balls of their feet and they were wearing antlers.
Yes.
You met Nokoton?
I guess. I don't know.
Like, have you seen the new that new deer anime? So it's a good little slice of life comedy. You should definitely check it out. I think it's not my neighbor. It's something Nokoton. I forget the full name.
Look,
But, like,
my duty was fulfilled of pushing back against Ty. So, Lethe, if you want to throw $50 at my Cash App, like you said you were going to, for coming in here and being opposition.
Oh yeah, it's in the
appreciate it.
mail. Check is in the mail. No,
Wait. You're paying people $50 to come in here and play devil's advocate and argue with people? Shit.
I mean, he really wanted to do it, and I had $50 that was burning a hole in my pocket, so it was a win-win.
Not listen, like I was just like, oh, Lethe's live. Let's see what Lethe's doing. Like I got off nights like a couple of weeks ago, so I'm just like, I got fuck all to do at night now. So like
My
I was
dear
just like,
friend
oh, what's
Nokoton.
Lethe doing?
That's what it was.
And
was
I
my
showed
friend.
up and I heard like dumb shit, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm sending Lethe like links, and I'm like, and I'm arguing Ty in Lethe's DMs, and I'm like, and he was like, I was like, if only you could get on. I'm like, oh, I can. And he was like, all right, do it.
And he hopped down Ty's throat with both feet and work boots on.
Oh yeah, steel toe and all, buddy.
Bring in Paul.
I have
Oh, shit, here goes
I have
Paul.
steel toe like sneakers. Like I don't like wearing boots because they like chafe my ankles weirdly. It's weird.
Oh, my wife has a new composite toed.
I mean,
I
they
think
could have
that's
been
what
composite
they
toe,
are,
whatever
but
Ty
I
was
say
swallowing.
steel toe.
Apparently, they're stronger. I don't know. Like
I'm a Red
there's
Wing
a couple
elitist.
places that require it, but
This is like the fourth pair of the same kind of boot in the past like 8 years. Like,
I have a
it's-
pair of Red
don't
Wings,
fix what's not
but they
broke. I
don't.
get it.
I have a pair of Red Wings because my job gave me like $100 voucher to buy a pair from Red Wing for work and stuff. It just never. It always felt wrong wearing them, so I now have a pair of sneakers with composite toes. It's all the same. They're work shoes.
Oh, dude, like the weight in the boots, I can't wear regular shoes anymore because it just doesn't feel right. I feel like I'm like duck walking because I'm so used to the weight.
Oh yeah, I remember when I first started working my job, I had the boots. I was wearing them every single day, and then when I took them off and started wearing sneakers again, I felt lighter than ever. It felt like fucking Rock Lee taking off the weights.
Yeah.
All right, fuck yeah, this was good.
Welcome, Paul.
God damn it, no tank top. Fuck.
Of course, Paul is wearing a tank top. He missed the memo.
No. I don't know. Actually, I also do not own a tank top.
I don't believe you, Paul.
Paul,
You lie to me
who's
every
your favorite
week.
band? I
This
will
isn't even
buy
a tank
you
top. It's a goddamn
band tank top.
undershirt. Like, come
My
on.
favorite band ever.
Yeah, I will legitimately
Be right
buy
back.
you like an Amazon like a tank top of the band that is your favorite, and I will send it to you.
1,000-foot crutch.
I mean, right now I'm really fucking loving King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard because I saw them live like 3 times now, and every time they're so fucking good, and I just love.
And you just say
They're
it's
not my
slower.
favorite band ever. They're not my favorite band ever, but I really fuck with King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard at the moment.
King Gizzard
and the Wizard Lizard.
Lizard Wizard, yeah. They're
Lizard
fucking, if you got the King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, if you guys can see these people live, if they're in your town, go to the show. I swear to God, I promise you.
I'm looking this up right now.
That's the funniest name for a band ever.
Amphibian. Paul wore the same fleece yesterday. It got real cold in Chicago, okay, over the last couple days. So I just been wearing the same hoodie. Like,
Paul
when I
is
get
currently
home.
trying to take Asmund's gold spot, and he has not bathed in 2 weeks.
This is also
Hey,
true.
yo.
I mean, might as well strike when you can, right? You know what I mean?
Dude, just get banned.
Days. I got 14 days. I got 14 days to steal his 40,000 view, following.
You got it, dude. I believe in you.
Only reason you'd be able to do that is if you start talking about DEI in video games.
Bro, I'm not autistic enough to do that shit. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm just not. I'm just not.
Like I could put on a play for that, like pretend, but it wouldn't fit. It wouldn't.
I
feel
can like
right.
talk about video games and like good video games. Like right now, I'm really enjoying like Silent Hill 2. I think because I liked Silent Hill 2 growing up. Like it was one of my favorite.
You see, that's the thing.
They
You
did
can
a
enjoy
really good
Silent Hill
job with that.
2, but Asmongold would say it's woke DEI because they didn't make the sexual assault victim sexy enough.
Yeah,
They did a
yeah.
really fucking good job with that.
That's
wait, didn't they do a
legitimately
great
what
job with
people
that
are
IPA?
saying right now.
Yo, but IPA, did they not do such a good job with the Silent Hill 2 remake?
Seriously, yeah.
Yeah,
I haven't played
they
it myself because
really
I'm not a Silent Hill person, but I've seen the screenshots. I've
man.
seen like a couple of things. It looks good. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, IPA and I think are around the same age. He might be a little
Yeah.
older. But I'm
I'm a
not
little
sure.
older than you are, yeah, but not
Yeah.
by dramatic
Here,
amounts.
pick
yeah.
one, Paul.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
why does
No, I would-
it's not what that's what Asmongold said. That's what the people he's courting say. They're all over Twitter saying that shit.
But
Toby is asking that you turn your mic up, Paul.
you are too low. Do I sound louder
I'm
now?
saying he's courting those people. I'm not saying
You
he-
sound kind
do
of
I-
muffled.
Well, fucking A. What's
Little bit.
happening?
Like if I'm,
Hey,
it
if you want
sounds
to
like
say
you have like a
stuff,
piece of paper around your
it's
actual
a
mic.
hair
Little
low,
harder.
yeah. Like you might want to turn your gain up a little.
Yeah, that do I sound better now?
Yeah, that's
A
better.
little bit.
Yeah,
It's
that's better.
clearer.
Okay. Okay. But dude, so I remember playing Silent Hill 2 when I was a young kid. Did you play 2 IPA?
Oh yeah, good idea.
Dude, that was like one of my favorite horror games growing up. Like I'll never forget like running away from like Pyramid Head, you know?
I was more a Resident Evil guy, but yes. I
Well,
played it for
okay,
sure.
so Silent Hill 2 is like my favorite horror, but like Resident Evil 2 is like right up there. But 1, 2, 3, and 4. 3 got a lot of hate when it came out, Resident Evil. But I played that remake recently. Did you play that remake?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job with that shit too. And Resident Evil 2 remake was pretty good too. But this Silent Hill
Yeah, they've
one
done
is
a really good job with all. Yeah, they've done a really good job.
dude,
with that, too.
dude, they've been really. Oh, and the new Resident Evil 4 remake was really good too.
I haven't played it yet,
I've just-
but it's
I've-
on my list.
Oh, you
Yeah,
should.
I'm not-
It's really good.
Because that's
I'm not huge
somewhat
into
recent,
horror.
right?
What's
I
up?
think so.
That's somewhat recent, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was up for game of the. It was either up for game of the. I think it was last year when it was up for game of the year, and then it lost to Boulder Gate. I'm pretty sure.
Well,
Baldur's Gate was
everything
amazing.
goes to Baldur's Gate because Baldur's
Yeah,
Gate
yeah.
is fucking incredible.
Yeah,
I have
that game.
yet to-
I've
I have
never
yet
played
to
a
play
Boulder Gate
that.
ever. Oh man, you're missing out. I've never played a Boulder Gate game ever. But one of my buddies was
Well-
like, "Just play it. It's really good," and it was fucking unbelievably good.
It is.
I
No,
just
seriously.
It's like seriously, it's like really good.
I just recently finally got a PS5, and
Congrats.
I've been wanting to play wanting to play God of War Ragnarok since I got the pre-order, and so I've been busy with that. And I'm trying to work on because I also got a capture card now. I'm trying to figure out how the fuck I
Wait,
use that to get my.
I've
console.
never played any of those games. Was that Data 4?
Basically,
Where he's dealing with his kid, right?
yeah. And
Okay.
the first game with when he was a little kid, this one, Atreus or Loki is now a little bit older, and is basically a rebellious little shit, and you're Kratos trying to deal with that. So
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. Then you're saying the new God. Sorry.
yeah, God of
Playing
War
Call of Duty for a
Ragnarok.
second.
But the other game that I have,
Yeah, I heard
that I'm
that's.
trying
I
to
heard that's
get
really
so I
good
can-
too.
The other game that I have for my PS5 right now that I really want to play, but I want to play it for streams, is Sparking Zero. I got the fucking special edition. I got the whole I spent the $270 something dollars. I think 268.79 for the fucking pre-order. Got it, and I got the PS5. I'm not kidding. I bought the pre-order before I got the PS5. So but I need my capture card. I'm working on trying to figure out how to fucking make this capture card work so I can stream the fucking thing. Fuck, it's hard.
I just want to point out, fuck you, Blizza. All right, this is the first image that popped up after I googled that. You're a piece of shit, but you're
Bro,
a piece of shit.
What?
What?
blow up the chat with it. Now everybody
What
has
the
to
fuck
see it.
link is?
There's a Bing Images link. All right, kiss my ass.
Wait,
Just the fact that you use
what does
Bing
David
is
Koresh have to
already-
do with anything?
Dog,
What?
it
I'm
was already
confused.
put into my computer. What, you want me to download fucking Safari or Chrome? This is it. You get it.
Hey,
What the fuck does
Hey,
David Koresh have to do with anything?
he said I
Hey,
look like
Razor.
David Koresh. I took my headset off to straighten my hair out because it was getting tangled. And I told him I cut my hair off because it was like my hair was like down to here. And I did this just to get it like straightened out. And this motherfucker says you look like David Koresh. Fuck you. All right.
Hey, really quick. On a serious note, though, Razor, I know that you were saying like you don't know anything about Silent Hill or whatever with like horror and stuff, like horror games. You really should.
I know a
because-
lot about Silent Hill. I've just never played them. I know the story.
Dude, you should like right now. Obviously, it's October. It's kind of expensive right now. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's a $70 game, which is kind of ridiculous. But
Yeah, it's getting obscene.
it's really okay. It hasn't been obscene because video games have basically never been hit with inflation, but that's a whole nother topic. Okay, but because when I was younger, by the way, just throwing this out here, back buying like N64 games, that shit new was like $60 too. So like,
No,
has it been getting insane?
N64 games
Yeah, it
new were
was,
like
man.
$39.
Nah, dude, those shit was like
No.
50 and
No,
60
like
bucks.
full
Adjusted
price
for-
for a game back
adjusted
then was
for-
$40.
was. Nah.
Well, there were the full box
maybe-
things, like 40 to 50.
But you should really look into getting this game. You should play it, Razor. It's a really good story. But this is a game. I mean, you can play it on stream. Obviously, horror is cool to play on stream.
I'll
but
Probably,
overall,
I'm probably,
the whole story and everything, it's really good, man.
I'm probably finally gonna do the thing I've been looking past for the past two Octobers, and finally actually go through the entirety of Omori for stream. It's already halfway through October. I need to actually get started on Omori now, and I'll figure out my capture card in my off time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you should. But hey, Rich. So what are these? The one thing I did want to talk to you about. That's why I hopped on here. Finally waiting for you,
Wait,
buddy.
Rich, where's your tank top? And you, Paul,
I don't own a tank top. I don't own a tank top.
where are the tank tops at? Come on.
It's underneath his hoodie.
It is underneath my hoodie. It's a red shirt. But
Also,
what are these?
Okay.
No. So what are these things? It's showing. Wait, the one thing you sent me in DMs, this one where it's like this is what it was in 2020 and this is what it was in 2024.
Right.
How long does this count for like early
Long
voting?
for
Is it
tank
literally all the way up to the day before actual voting date, or do you
I
know?
think so.
What do you
Early
mean? No,
voting?
no, it's the whole. Yeah, it's all votes, all early votes.
Oh, so early vote meaning that it's literally up to like the day before voting date is where they keep counting till this statistic.
No, I
here?
think they stop a couple of days before.
It's like a
the
couple.
voting
Yeah,
day.
that's what I was just wondering.
I think the Saturday before election day is the last day you can early vote in most states.
I mean, these numbers look unbelievable. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Oh, we're talking in Georgia or
No, Pennsylvania. Although the
Pennsylvania.
Georgia numbers are also impressive for different reasons.
well,
Oh,
this
yeah,
one I
I
think is pretty
I
impressive.
saw a thing that said previous year around this time it was like 160,000 early votes. Now
In
it's
Michigan, there's a big surge in
282,000.
older black women.
I saw that too. Yeah, I listened to that one interview with him and
so like
on that
60,000
CBS.
women.
All the women.
Yeah, there was
Older
a
black
ton
women.
of. Well, okay, so what we don't really know for these numbers is like where they're voting.
Is that a
We can just
130?
tell what the demographic is or the demographics and who did vote. But like older, just like older black women in general, it's like 97% vote for Democrats, right? So, it's pretty unbelievable. But this one I think was even crazier, Rich. The one you sent me that was the all 7 battleground states combined.
Yeah.
This is pretty fucking wild. So all the way through, all the way up till early
The
voting is
pattern
done
looks
in
more like
2020.
22 than it does 20.
I'm hoping you two are going to expand on what that is for those of us that didn't actually read this article.
Well, this is just the stats here. Hold on one second.
Okay, but what are they? I want to know.
I'd love to put it in side
I'll-
chat, but we don't have a side chat.
Oh, unbelievable. Lethe. Jesus
I don't know what
Christ.
you're
Yeah,
talking about.
VP.
What's a side shot?
I want to know what the
Here,
fuck
I'm
you're
just going to
talking
send it
about.
to
I wanna-
Lethe, and then Lethe can forward it to everybody else.
Rich, will you send it to me, please, so I know what the fuck you guys are talking about?
Yeah, hold on. Let me. I'll send this one. Copy image. I'm gonna send it to Lethe, and
Oh,
then he can forward it to all the rest of y'all.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure you'll know.
And
I'm pretty
make
sure
him
you
do the
noticed when I
work.
got out of my chair. You saw that box there. I also have a little mini TV here, so I can play my PlayStation in my room.
You guys can think. Oh, really quick, whoever this is, whoever's Blizzard. If you want to, you think I'm wrong all the time,
Whoever
that's
this
fine.
is.
Incoming parallax.
How do I?
Hey.
Oh, I can't do it because of fucking.
But wait, the
There's
more
target
important
left.
question is the more
I just came
important
to
question is
clarify
before
for
you turn the camera
IPA.
on.
I'm not turning my camera on. My
Yeah,
kid's
at the same
asleep
time.
behind me. Their early voting data indicates that we're probably going to shatter the record from 2020. Is basically what they're getting at. Early voting is up 126%
I'm gonna take it as a no, so
or
keep
something like
camera
that
off.
in
Okay,
Georgia.
thanks.
What?
Delay, I'm guessing.
Oh, okay. Early voting is up like 126% in Georgia. It's up a fuck pile in Pennsylvania on both ends. So Republican and Democratic turnout is up in
that's interesting.
Pennsylvania. And
Good
there's
to
like a lot
know.
of good, and you'll be able to break it down when Rich sends you the stuff. But there's like a lot of good demographic data in there. So for example, in
I sent it to
Pennsylvania,
everyone.
in
Yeah,
Pennsylvania,
he sent me the same thing.
women are voting at a higher clip. Black women specifically are voting at about 3 times the rate they did in 2020 early. In Michigan, it's women across the board, and women broke for Biden in 2020. So this is good news for Democrats. And the Democratic firewall in Pennsylvania is currently about, last I knew, 226,000 votes. And 250 was kind of the safe firewall prediction. But with the numbers being as high as they are, only one of two things can be true. Thing one is we're going to break the 2020 voter turnout
My
record, which
Discord
is
messed up, or
wild.
did everyone just go
Well, it
silent?
seems like we're on track too, right? Yeah.
It's your well.
You might
That's why it's
be-
one
Yeah,
of
the
two.
difference
Paul.
is
IPA.
in
That's why
2020
it's
they were
that's why it's one of two, Paul. It's either that or more of the distribution is going to be in early voting. We don't break the record, and Democrats run away with the election.
Hey.
It's shifting, but also it's shifting. Like we're breaking the record, but that's because more people are voting in person early.
Correct.
The number of people
Lines were
voting by
crazy.
mail is going down, but that's of course because people aren't afraid of COVID anymore.
All right. Well, that's all. I just wanted to answer the question that was totally answerable.
I love you,
Anybody
Vera.
Bye.
I love
Thanks for coming through, Parrot.
you. You bitch.
So really quick, what Rich sent me today to answer the question, because we can't see it. But these are all the battleground states in general for early voting, and to my understanding here, this model of the party is going to be the entire, so all the way up to like a couple days before voting, whenever they stop quote unquote early voting numbers. Democrats in 2020, I'm just going to round up or down a little bit. 2 million votes, which was 50% of the entire voting process. It looks like, or no, I'm sorry, it's 50%. Oh, I'm sorry.
50% of early voters.
Yeah, the early voters voted Democrat. Yeah. And then it was
Well, no, we don't know how they
1
voted. They were registered Democrats.
registered
know how they
Democrats.
voted.
Correct.
We
Yeah,
don't know how
correct.
they voted.
Sure,
correct.
But it's
hold on.
safe to assume, right?
So this is 2020 numbers. So it's 2 million Democrat, 1.5 million Republican. Unaffiliated was 550,000. This is 2020 numbers. Just after the last 2 days of early voting here now, Democrats are already at 881,000. Republicans at 462, and then unaffiliated at 179. So right now there seems to be a huge jump we have 57% of the early votes at the moment, Democrats do, compared to what it was 49% in 2020. Granted, it's still the first couple days, but these numbers seem pretty big. Because we still have 25 days or whatever it is.
It's called the old motherfuckers don't want to get to a fucking voting poll. They vote early. They're all fucking
20
Republicans. They're
days.
fucking dead.
Maybe 19 days.
Yeah, so 19 days for this type of counting.
Dog,
and,
this is the first time I'm
and,
meeting
and
you.
by the way,
Love you, dog.
and by the way, this is all swing states. Every single swing state combined in this data here. All 7 swing states. So this seems very good for the Democrats at the moment.
I'm loving that. That sounds amazing. Madam President incoming. I love that. Thank you.
Well, we'll have to see, obviously, right? Again, like Paris said,
Hopefully.
it could slow down voting, but that
be a
still
close
doesn't mean
race,
that's
I
bad
think,
news. It's going to be
regardless,
close.
but-
It's going to be close, of course. But these numbers coming in do seem pretty good for the Democrats. We'll have to see. I'll be right back.
It's gonna be close. All the more reason
I
we
hate-
need a goddamn third party, motherfuckers.
I'm very much
Yeah, ranked choice
annoyed
voting
that
if
it's
you
going
want
to be
that.
close.
That's the only way it's going to happen.
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
agree with you,
Like,
Rich. I 100% agree with you.
So definitely ranked choice voting. But yeah, I fucking hate that it is as close as it is right now, and I blame fucking mainstream media the most for that. Sure, there are obviously a lot of right wing
Say
fucking
more.
talking heads. There's obviously a lot more talking heads online right now, right wingers who are spreading misinformation as well. But the mainstream media is supposed to be for the average American who's not a terminally online fuckwit who doesn't understand shit. It's supposed to be where people can where like the average American turns on their TV and they hear like, here's the news, here's what's bad, here's what's good, and move on. But nowadays they don't give you full stories. They don't give you the information that you need. They like for fucking they're extra partial towards one side versus the other because they want more clicks, they want more ratings, they want more eyes, they want all the other things. So they do everything they can to make what's currently happening a horse race and not a, hey, this dude's fucking insane. At least this lady's at least somewhat competent. Like, can we stop? She can at least put together sentences.
Another thing too, I mean, before the whatever we talk about that
95%
bullshit,
of the time.
another thing though with early voting that just sparked my head when I walked away for a second was Republican early voting and mail voting for early voting in Pennsylvania was up for Republicans, like a big amount too, which is interesting. But we should see that.
So.
Well, no, it's not that they're hypocrites. It's because now I think Trump realizes in 2020 the reason why he lost is probably because he said not to fucking vote by mail. So he's kind of stepped back a little bit on that. He stepped back a little bit on that. He's like, oh yeah, you can do that now, right?
Yeah, but again, that's not him. That's not him. Like, I still say hypocrite because he didn't acknowledge that. He didn't actually fully acknowledge it. He just more said, "Yeah, it finally did." He never acknowledged it. He's more because he never acknowledges when he's wrong. He's a narcissist.
It was older black women, Michigan, but white. I'm sorry. I think there was something else in Georgia too that was up for that, like was good for the Democrats. I forget what it was though.
I think it was like average. I think it was like white women.
I think you're right. I think it was white women, and that is basically what helped him win Georgia.
Trump leads by 1 with white women, which is that's the worst it's ever been. Like no Republican has come close to losing white women.
I mean, hey, this really might have just been
weird
a huge
to me.
Say that again. No Republican has ever lost white women.
No Republican since they've done polling.
Like he's saying like margin wise.
Correct.
Actually, that would be
saying
since
is
women
1%
can
is
vote
low.
too.
Yeah.
So there you go. No Republican for national office, like for presidency or whatever, has ever lost white women. Or he's even done as poorly. Like he's ahead by 1 with white women.
Let's keep educating the women, guys. That is the solve. That's how we solve this Democrat Republican issue. Educated
Let me
women.
ask you this. Hang on. I gotta interject here. And this is purely academic out of curiosity, right? Like because when Obama was presidential candidate, you had a large number of people that voted for him, and like there are polls out there, there are studies out there that voted for him because he was black. Are we seeing that same effect where women are voting for or favoring Kamala Harris because she's a woman?
No, I don't. Well, there's no way. There's no telling why. But because they certainly didn't vote.
There is after the fact.
Well, we only have one example of after the fact, right? And that's 2016. And white women voted against Hillary Clinton. So, I don't think that was the factor. In fact, a lot of people were scratching their heads afterwards going, wow, women didn't vote for the first woman candidate. So it surprised some people that did not surprise me at all because women sabotaging other women is not a new phenomenon.
Okay, that's a fair comparison. Sure, that's a very fair comparison.
I think a lot of the reason, though, when it
it's
came
Dobbs,
to obviously,
it's abortion.
It's Dobbs. It has to be, right? This is trickled. How long ago was that? 3 years ago? 2 years ago?
2002.
How long?
2022.
2022. So this shit is just kryptonite to the fucking Republicans at the moment, dude. It really is. It seems like it's really.
If Trump
fucked
loses
them.
here, I think it'll be very clear.
There's
the dog caught the train, and they don't know what to do now.
Yeah, there's another thing that I feel did affect quite a few things. I think even business owners, of not all, obviously, like the big conglomerates were happy that this was gone, but a lot of business owners, I think, hated the idea of Chevron being gone.
I don't know. I don't know enough about Chevron. Every time I've talked to someone about Chevron, some people have some issues with it here or there, but overall, it seems like nothing has changed from Chevron. So I don't know if it's a good or bad
for now.
At the moment, for now,
yeah,
right?
For now.
Yeah,
the problem is that the problem is that now all the gates are open. A lot of like big regulation stuff that protects workers and climate stuff.
I kind of think Chevron is a hedge against Trump, right? So if Trump wins, Chevron, this new Chevron, overturning Chevron will mean that he can't really make over the agencies without Congress's approval. So I was kind of happy when that happened, because what it shows, what it does is it maintains the status quo. It means that the agencies, if you're going to overhaul them, if you're going to make major changes, you can't do it without Congrress's approval. And that's bad for Trump if he wins.
But no, if I remember correctly, like in Project 2025 and the fucking agenda, was it agenda or something, 47?
Agenda 47 or 48, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, whatever number. Trump picked a random number. 47.
No, he would be the
they have this whole
seventh president.
Yeah, so he picked 47.
Yeah.
So it was this.
Random.
Yeah, I know. I'm halfway joking. He's stupid. I don't fucking whatever.
That was
there's this whole bit. There's a lot of overlap between that and Project 2025. One of them specifically being basically subverting Congress and Senate for the what's that term again? Lateral unitary executive power, something like that. I forget the exact term.
Right, but the Chevron decision, this Chevron overturning goes against unitary executive theory.
Well,
because it says that the executive cannot act on his own; he needs Congress.
Yeah, and then also
the way that I think
these other agencies
and
or whatever can't just like put someone and change rules there too as well. Like they have
that's what I was saying. Like with the Gen 47, he's made it. They're going to make it to where he can fire and hire all these specialty areas with just people who are loyal to him.
He can do that, but I think the pushback again, I'm Rich, I could be wrong, but the pushback here would be like, even if he did put in whack jobs to do some crazy things to make dramatic changes of anything,
this Chevron decision would cut against that, right?
Yes,
the Chevron decision would be in the way of that part of the agenda.
Yes,
because now if he wants to do all,
he has to pass it through. He has to get it through Congress to be able to make some sweeping type of
weird.
Change.
It's almost like we gave too much power to ABC agencies.
Well, that's what it basically was saying. That's what the ruling was, basically. It's true. He's not wrong. That is basically how they said it.
I got massively stoned with the wifey, and then she coerced me into yoga. So
that's not usually what comes after that, but fair enough. Whatever you guys do.
So I sinned multiple times. But with that,
yoga's in quotes.
Yeah, glad I came back, and glad I get to see all you here. I get to actually respectfully say thank you for having me on. Iko, it's always nice seeing you. Hippie Jesus, fun time. You came in hot, but we were good. I got a softball question. That's why I wasn't so angry. I thought you were gonna come at me a lot harder. What up, boys?
His was a softball question.
You thought I was gonna come at you?
What was the question?
I just
wait. You thought I was going to come after you?
No, hippie Jesus.
No, earlier. Okay.
No, me. Well, his was both of yours were softball questions. Like he just made it harder than what it was.
I must have missed. I think I missed the question, so I don't know what was there.
Well, his was about the open job positions like in the market right now, which is about like eight something million, and his was about the unemployment number.
Huh? Oh, sorry, unemployment. Sorry, never mind. I misunderstood.
You know, I was just open jobs in the market right now, and it's like 8.6 million or something like that. And Ty said something like, "It's like, well, I don't know how many of those are ghost positions where companies add them and then take them away immediately just so it looks like they're more profitable or more popular than what they are." And I just asked him, like, how many of those do you think there are to like? Do you think that number is more affected because of that or less?
Honestly, it probably just no.
Okay. And he just gave me like it's either
3%
or 33, and I'm like,
it's probably just
what is
really this 8 point whatever number. Probably, I understand it, and it's probably fine to bring it up, but it's probably really all depends again where like you live. Like Ty might be asking these questions, being like, oh, maybe they do have a job opening, but then you find out that like they haven't hired anyone, and the job's been open for like an entire year because he just lives in like a bad market area.
He was saying it like it was fact.
I don't
like he wasn't asking.
I don't have a quantitative.
Stating it.
I can't give you a quantitative number, but I can.
I'm sure that does happen. By the way,
you with like anecdote. Okay, anecdotal, right? Let's be clear about this. It is my personal experience in the industry that I am in as a hiring manager. Okay, positions get opened because we are legally required to post them, even though we know who we're hiring.
I knew it. I knew it, bastards.
No, sure.
It's all a con, guys. It's all a con.
I mean, that's fine.
That's so
my thing was just
that's
asking him, like, do you think that it's like, do you think it affects it a little bit, or do you think it affects it like a lot? Do you think like these numbers are so inflated that it's actually
it's greater than zero?
These numbers are like
it's greater than zero. I can't give you a quantitative number, but it's
no. I understand that, but Ty was talking about it like it was like a huge fucking problem and that it was like actively happening. Like he gave me it was either a 3% difference or a 33% difference. Like, and I was just trying to pin him down on what's your actual position. Like, what do you actually believe?
And let me be clear, I don't mean me, we, my company. I just mean the industry. I've seen it happen.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Nothing to do with the company that I work for.
And socials. I just asked. Like, my question for him was like, what do you think the unemployment and e-commerce on TikTok, like what do you think the correlative effect of that is? And
yeah,
like,
I can't tell you whether it's 2% or 8% or 20%. I have no fucking clue. I just tell you that I know for sure that it happens within.
Might as well say 100. Hey, might as well say 100%, dude. Might as well say 100%, right? Fuck it.
Yeah, and I respect that fully. Like you have a position. He didn't. That's what I was challenging him on.
Really? No. So really quick, I think it really, again, depends on, like, we can look at a number saying like 8.6 million jobs are open at the moment. But like what happens when of the 8.6 million jobs, 7.1 of them are located in like 6 cities across the country, right? So we have a huge gap across the thing where, so yes, the jobs are open and available, but there's probably, I don't want to say like blackout markets where the jobs really aren't really there besides like Uber or whatever, whatever have you.
Sure, yeah.
That's probably
Amazon.
what that, yeah, Amazon, FedEx, right? Shit like that.
I just want to say, Paul, preface that with really quick.
Really quick.
Really quick for me. I am out of here, guys. Pleasure, boys.
Pleasure, buddy. Pleasure.
See, that
Have
was
a good
really
night, my
good.
buddy.
Have a good night, my dude.
Yeah, you actually said goodbye. You actually care.
Yay!
But no, IPA, like I completely agree with you. Like it does happen. Like I'm not gonna disagree with that. Like companies do put out like the job openings even though they're not like intending to fill them. Like that does happen.
It's not intending to fill them. It's just that they've already filled it with somebody internally, and they're legally required to post it externally.
Sure.
And
And
also
I'm not denying that happens. I just wanted him to stake a position that wasn't like, oh, it could be a huge problem, but it could not be. Because the original point that I was kind of like defending on that was that he was saying that there's like all these people that aren't willing to work, and all these people don't want to work, and all these people aren't working, and like that there's all these jobs open, like, and all this, and I was like, job openings have lowered in the past 2 years, and unemployment is like down to 3.8% right now.
It's steady.
Like
It's like 4%.
4.2.
It's been
It's like
4%.
4.2.
Yeah, it's been. Yeah, okay. Let's split the difference. Call it 4%, right? Like,
Yeah.
It's been around 4% for the last 3 years,
Yeah.
Thanks, Biden.
roughly speaking.
It's been really where we want to be as a country?
No. Time out, Razor.
Yes.
It was low for no. Prior to COVID, when all the businesses shut down and unemployment spiked, okay, it was lower than that beforehand. It was like
Biden hit the numbers.
Oh, you're right.
It wasn't.
Oh, you're
Biden hit
right.
those.
Thank
No, it
Obama.
wasn't 2.8. By the way, it was not 2.8. I think the lowest
that was
like
like,
unemployment
that
in
was
the
like
last 50
historic
years
low,
was
like
under Joe.
2.8.
No, I'm pretty sure Joe Biden hit the historic low, and it was like 3.6.
Okay,
in the
nonetheless,
last, like,
it
50
went.
years.
It
But
nonetheless,
regardless,
it went like
regardless,
this, and then
regardless, what
COVID,
we
and
need,
then
IPA,
back down.
IPA, what we need to now acknowledge here is the fact that we did go through a crisis, we did go through inflation, and our country stood together, and we fucking figured it out, and our unemployment level are at healthy levels. That is what matters. It's a soft landing, and I'm glad Biden was at the back of the helm of this. He doesn't get enough credit. I bet you in 20 years, roughly, in about 20 years, the history books will look back at Joe Biden and say, this guy was an unbelievably good president.
Well, but also, IPA, like the lowest the unemployment rate has been.
I know you say that, but I'm telling you.
The lowest the unemployment rate. Razor.
Sorry,
the lowest the unemployment rate has been. It is true that it was 3.5% right before COVID.
Okay.
Okay, so 3.5. I said 3.6.
But it was
Okay,
3.4%.
sure, go with that.
It was 3.4% last year.
Yeah, so there you go. I know Biden broke the the 50 or 60 year record.
Biden's unemployment.
Guys, all I'm getting at is it went from and then spiked at COVID, right, when all these businesses had shut down and unemployed people, whatever, PPP loans, blah 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 blah, and then went right back down. Right, so it wasn't like, oh well, it's because of this thing. It
does matter about that. Wait, hold on, IPA. It does matter about. Wait, hold on, IPA. It does matter about that because you can look at other countries around the world that are actually like first world, like G7 countries that show that America has done better than every single one of these countries across the entire fucking globe. And you want to know who number 2 is? Is Canada because they're fucking next to fucking United States of America.
Skip that COVID blip, and it's basically level.
It's not about skipping. It's not about skipping the COVID blip. It's about understanding that the entire world went through an entire process that was dramatic across the entire fucking world, and the United States came out on top again because we're fucking based.
Sure,
and it was because of the leadership we had in our country as well as our own Americans.
I would disagree. I just say it went back to normal. It went back to
so you think Biden's so you think Biden's a good president?
No, I would say there was an anomaly in between.
It went back to normal here. I think the point Paul's trying to make is it went back to normal here when the rest of the world did not go back to normal.
Correct.
We managed to do it. We did the soft landing.
Yes, we did this. I heard recession, and now all your economics and it's inevitably it's coming.
Curves,
Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon there. Everybody, all these fucking people. It's gonna happen. And guess what? I hear them saying now. Wow, I can't believe how much of a soft landing we're having. Wow, this is unbelievable in the economy. What happened?
Soft landing?
Yes.
Bro, my monthly expenses are up dramatically, and I make more than I ever have.
Yeah, you know what causes? You know what historically causes inflation more than anything else? A strong overheating economy.
What you eating over there,
Reserve? The Federal Reserve?
The strong overheating right now. Do you know what PPI is right now? We're at 1.7%. That's below target.
Like I was just
just for all the people that might not know what PPI is.
1.7% PPI. CPI is at 3.5, which 2.5, which is very close to target. And so,
consumer
CPI
price
is
index,
the consumer side of inflation. PPI is the production side, and usually CPI lags PPI. That is to say, when inflation goes down for producers, a month or two later, you'll see that reflected in consumer prices as well. Because it takes a while.
It lags about a month
for the lower costs on. Right. So we're at 1.7% PPI right now. That means CPI is likely to lower when the numbers come out next month, and probably close to 2% or like 2.2, 2.1% is what they're expecting.
That's why everyone. That's why you see the stock market just hitting
landing.
over and over and over again because they're expecting CPI. The traders see it. They see the data.
When people
this is a
complain
strong
about
economy
now,
at the
they're
moment.
not complaining about current inflation. They're complaining about inflation from 2 years ago and still feeling it today because we don't have inflation.
They have a vibe.
That's what they're complaining. And that's a fair complaint. Yeah, we don't have.
It is. It absolutely is a fair complaint. Guess what?
Take years
over the last 4 years.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it hasn't come
But here's
back
the
down.
problem: is consumer sentiment and consumer confidence are the two measures that capture how much people are feeling in terms of inflation, right? That's the vibe session, right? And even the vibe session has now started going down. That is to say, people aren't perceiving inflation the same way they did even a year ago, let alone 2 years ago. So even those perceptions are starting to fade away in memory. And if our target is 2%, and PPI is at 1.7%, that's not exactly deflation, right? But if numbers like that last long enough, it starts to cancel out with prior inflation. Probably take a decade for that to actually work out fully.
Correct. Yes,
But-
exactly.
but-
At that rate, it's
But
gonna
also,
take 10, 12
inflation
years.
has been and currently is much worse around the world than it is in America. So we've managed to keep.
I mean, you can even look at like things like gas, for instance, right? Like or natural gas, like around the globe, like yeah, ours is still high,
until the
but around the
hurricane, I paid.
Oh yeah, the hurricane
$2.40
did
for
fuck us a
gas.
little. Yeah,
I paid
the hurricane
$2.40
did
for
fuck a
gas
little
until
bit.
the hurricane. There's a blip. We're up to $2.80 now here in Texas, but that's still not bad. And I think people understand hurricane prices.
Well,
on oil.
like the last time I checked, I haven't checked in months, but like, bro, like England or the UK and shit like that in the EU, they were still at like around like $4 or over $4 a gallon. They're like $4.50 a gallon.
Yeah,
like
they've
they're
got a lot
still
of
like
carbon
hurting more
tax
than
out
us,
there.
and natural gas is destroying them at the moment too. You think you think that we have it bad?
We're
Yes.
producing more oil. We are the number one oil country in the world right now. The United States
Yes.
is producing more oil than Saudi Arabia or Russia or anybody.
I accidentally slipped up and I said export, but it's just produce the other downstream.
And,
Well, we also export a lot of oil, and
We're number
the reason
four.
why it matters.
We're number
Export
four.
an astronomical. Yes.
and
we're number
the
four.
reason why
good
it
news about
matters-
that is that there's no America to invade America.
Well, the reason why it matters right now that we produce so much in terms of oil and gas is because of the war in Russia. So now, because we're trying to get NATO to where it's not dependent on Russian oil and gas, so we started pumping up our production in order to like deal with that. That's one of the reasons why Kamala flipped on fracking, because the war started, and it makes now it makes sense to start fracking again, or whatever. We never stopped, but to stop opposing fracking, because we're producing more oil now than we've never been the number one oil country in the world before. That happened under Biden.
Good old American exceptionalism. See, Blizz is happy. Everybody's happy. It's a good day.
No, but Rich, you are correct. You're absolutely, when it comes to numerically speaking, that is accurate, right? The problem that Americans have is we see this and we go, oh yeah? Well, why isn't our gas $1.99?
Because we're not in recession.
Because
No, but because we look.
Yes,
no, we weren't. In
we
recession.
only have
no, we weren't
we
in
only have
recession
sub
back
$2
when it was
gas when there's a
$1.99.
recession.
Well, you can't ask
We
him a
weren't
question
doing-
and
no,
talk
we
over him.
We have.
No,
Well,
That's my answer. That's my answer. Every time we have gas that's under $2, it's
we
because
were
we're
not
in
in
a
recession under Trump. We weren't.
What?
We weren't in.
And I'm
What are you
not
talking
defending
about?
Trump.
Oh, I guess.
I'm not-
Okay,
technically,
so
yeah,
real
we were.
fast-
Time out. Let me be clear. I'm not defending Trump in any way, shape, or form. I'm
I
just
know.
telling you the last time the gas was that cheap was under Trump. Okay.
Yes,
But
during the
we were
recession.
not in
Okay.
recession.
During the recession, nobody was driving because of COVID.
Yeah,
14%
that- yeah, I was gonna
unemployment.
say, yeah.
Everybody was staying home, and so oil prices crashed. They were far higher prior to COVID.
Correct. You were
It was
negative
only
dollars a
during
barrel
COVID
at one
when
point.
it dropped.
Yeah, you were
Yeah,
negative
yeah,
dollars
yeah.
a barrel back then.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, you have to acknowledge, but
That's
you
the
have to
point.
acknowledge this overall, right?
Unless you're giving
like
Trump
IPA, come
credit
on.
for COVID, if that's what you're saying, then okay, then it's because of Trump. But if you're not giving Trump credit for COVID, then he's not the
It's an
reason
inside
gas
job.
prices were low.
Yeah, wasn't
Yeah.
okay. I will admit something to you. Gas was lower under Trump majority of his term compared to
No,
like
it
where
wasn't.
we're at. Was
Gas
it not?
prices were
It was.
higher under Trump until COVID.
Wait, really? I thought it was at like $2.80, $3.
I remember that.
By me.
I was.
Actually,
I
let's look
think
it up. Let's find out because this
I
is
was
going to be.
gonna say.
I'm sliding this into my pockets.
I'm talking about when he said
Average
$1.99.
gas.
I'm saying they were higher
not
than
$1.99.
$1.99 under Trump until COVID.
So, I do have a question about like economics on this front.
Hold on a
because
second. And this is just quick cursory Google search. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Average gas price in 1998 in or sorry. Oh my God.
years
Jesus
old by
fuck.
then.
I typed.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck about 1998.
You mean 2018?
So I
Yes,
have a,
20. I'm sorry. Yes.
That's okay. That's my
I
example.
was only 2
In
years old.
2018, gas prices were $2.72.
Yeah, in
Okay, yeah,
2019,
that's
they're
above
$2.99.
$1.99.
$3.
Okay,
if I remember
$2.60 in
$3.
2019. Okay, yes, I'm being hyperbolic a little bit when I say $1.99,
So-
but they were sure as shit cheaper than they are now.
Yeah,
Well,
I
yeah,
wanna
that's
ask a
because
quick
we
question
that's
about-
because we weren't sanctioning Russia, and we didn't look. Here's what happened. Here's what
And
happened
we
after
hadn't dumped our
after the
entire,
war
like,
after the war
reserves
started.
here. And we weren't exporting nearly as much as we are now. We weren't. You're
No,
correct.
Well,
we
you
are,
know,
we are
well,
in
hold
terms
on.
of pure
Exporting
production.
does help. Wait, exporting does help our gas prices at time, though.
But it's not just that.
Say more.
Exporting
How so?
helps us. It helps
How
us
so?
maintain Russian sanctions. That's why.
Okay, Rich, that's a fair point. But how so? How do like
I was
how
against
does that-
exporting
how-
until
Because
the war.
because because
how does
because we can
exporting
sell
help our
barrels
prices?
because we can sell barrels for an amount of price
exporting
over to our
doesn't help our prices. It helps NATO's prices, and we need gas prices to be
it
reasonable in
helps
NATO so that they don't
stabilize
buy
it.
from
It
Russia.
can also
helps
help us as
stabilize
well.
it. Yes, absolutely. It helps maintain sanctions against Russia.
Well, it
yes,
does help
because
us inevitably
you're
because of that.
preventing
That's
them from
critical.
buying from Russia. Absolutely.
Listen,
100%,
I was
get that.
for the export ban until the war, right? Like, keep in mind, it was the Republicans who lifted the export ban, right? And that's what caused gas prices to go up. And I was against it because I wanted Americans to have lower gas prices until the war. At this point, it is now
Paul, I'm
incumbent
still
upon
not
us to
understanding. How
ensure
does
that NATO
exporting
can stay
help
together.
our prices domestically?
Because there's okay, so
It
like for
doesn't.
instance, like there. Okay, he can say it doesn't. So okay, maybe I misunderstand here, but there was times where, when first of all, when the war did start happening and we started exporting around the world, I guess it's more of what Rich was saying is stabilizing them, which stabilizes us on prices as well.
It lowers oil prices in Europe, right? Which is where we're exporting to.
And
It
and
doesn't. It
helps
actually it
continue
doesn't
to-
lower prices here.
It helps continue to fuck Russia. I get that. Yep.
Yeah.
Hold on one second here. Okay,
But keep
so
in mind, up until the war, it was Democrats that wanted a ban on exports. It was always
So
the
January-
Republicans who wanted to export more.
When
And
did
honestly,
COVID
I
start?
was against the Republicans on that until
Very
the war.
end of 2019 or 20.
So it was like January of 2020.
2019. I mean, everybody kind of knew like November-ish of 2019. Like, hey, there's this thing going around. We're gonna take a look at it and see what's going on.
I don't think it was that early. But
Oh, really? Like in terms of a widespread like knowledge of like, hey,
Of COVID?
something's up. We're not
all I
sure what it is, but something's
all
going
I
on.
remember is that
2019.
Tom Hanks got it in Australia, and then that's when the entire world took it seriously. That's all I remember
By
about
like
COVID. Okay.
by like January, it had a name. We had theories about where it came. We had theories and
If
conspiracy
you ran a
theories
debate
about where it
squad,
came
you would have
from.
known about it by October, which
By
is when
like
we knew about it.
March,
in
it was really
2019.
like a known thing, right? But seriously, like back in like November of 19, it was kind of like a hey, there's this thing going on.
Yeah.
What's going on? What's weird? That's
Here's
weird.
what I knew in November of 2019. I knew
Oh, and-
that
oh,
the
really quick.
Chinese were lying about COVID. Like that was like that.
Yeah, that was-
spreading
that
and
was-
they were covering
yeah.
it up.
yeah.
That was
Yeah.
Oh,
and
in
an-
papers if you looked for it.
Another thing, the way that exporting
all the
oil
time.
does help us at times too. By the way, when oil like the barrels were at like whatever it was when it was really high, I forget what was $120 a barrel or whatever it was. During the times, we can go and export and sell our barrels for more expensive, like for high expense in general, because we
Hippie.
knew and we have like
One
analytics.
sec, Hippie
Analytics.
Jesus has a dip. Thanks for coming through, my dude. You rest well.
All right, buddy.
It's no problem at all. If anybody wants any cool emotes, my emotes are now followers, so just give me a follow like Kyle did, and yeah, have some fun.
Hippie
If you need,
Jesus.
Have a good one, buddy.
yeah. Oh no, it's at Alpha Wasabi. Sorry. But,
Alpha Wasabi, dude. That's a good name.
Y'all have a good one.
You too, buddy.
Peace.
So another thing too, so exports could be good for our pricing as well in our economy in America, because when gas prices got really high at one point, Biden was actually, and the right-wing media ran with this, they're selling it over to like Asia or like China. Well, it was actually Asia, but like they said China because, you know, they're all the same thing to the Republicans at this point. And then, so when we sell it for high, it's almost like a weird, like stock market trade type of deal. We're selling it high. taking the cash, and then when oil drops again, like, back down to $100, we take that same cash and buy more oil back to our reserves into the America. So you can also make money off of that. And that's what Biden was also.
That's a different story. That's
well,
not
but we were exporting our reserves to do this and exporting a lot, using it, and then we were buying when it dropped on the dip to go and make our gas prices lower as well.
That's a different thing.
It's the equivalent.
It is, but that's what we did do. I'm saying we could do this all the time if we wanted to.
That was a genius move.
We don't want to trade. Biden, dude, Goldman Sachs. I remember Goldman Sachs.
Republicans were saying it was unprecedented, and they were right. It was unprecedented, but it turned out to be the fucking absolute. It broke OPEC's back. Like OPEC, here's what happened: is we started our sanctions against Russia, and OPEC at the same time said, "Okay, all this oil is drying up in Russia, so we're going to cut our production at the same time in order to goose oil prices and screw the United States and also get Trump elected in the process." And that was their plan. And then so Biden counters by releasing all of that oil right when that happened. And what that did was it kept oil prices from going where OPEC was trying to make it go. And they finally cried uncle this month. They've announced that they're abandoning their cutbacks, and they're going to be producing more oil, which is only going to drive oil prices even lower. And all of that was because of the tremendous amount of oil that Biden released onto the market at the same time that they were trying to put the screws to us. If we had been able to do this in the 1970s, then the energy crisis never would have happened.
But
I remember Goldman Sachs. I remember when
the delay in effect is that long.
I remember when I was listening.
No. Oil prices were supposed to go to $5-6 a gallon, and they never did.
People were saying $8 a gallon,
and they
avoided our strategic oil reserves. That was like almost 2 years ago ish.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand that. Yes, but that's what stopped
to help oil prices from going to $5-6.
Right. That's what I'm asking you, Rich. Is the delay the effect?
It's not a delay. It happened right away.
It's not a delay. No. It's not a delay. He's upset. No. The reason why he's saying that is because gas prices are still too high, is what he's saying. But you have to realize, here that if we wouldn't have done this, and Biden wouldn't have done this, and by the way, I was watching a CNBC episode at Goldman Sachs when this happened, and the guy was like, Biden should actually go down as the greatest oil trader of all time in stock market history because of how good it was, because he capped the increase of the oil barrels during that time. So instead of it going
a gallon and then bought it 60.
Yeah, exactly. And then so what happened was instead of it going from 100 to buying
the equivalent of like messing with exchange rates, essentially.
Helping the American people is what I'm talking about.
Right, but in terms of
that's what I'm talking about.
An analogy,
and the world, not just the American people,
not just
the
that,
world
but also
too.
helping the oil reserve, right? Because there's a certain amount of money that's allocated to the oil reserve. I remember sort of famously Trump getting really pissed because he wanted to fill up the oil reserve at really low rates during COVID because oil had gotten so low, but there was no money in the account to buy it with. So he needed Congress to give him that money, and Congress didn't give him that money. And so all after that, the Republicans are like, okay, we're going to screw Biden now by not giving him the money to do that. And all Biden did was sell a whole bunch, make a massive profit, and then now he doesn't need congressional approval because he made such a big profit on the steel. So Republicans couldn't do back to him what actually both the parties have been doing that to presidents like for decades. But now they can't because now there's so much money in that account because of the deal that Biden made. And it's all happening at a time when oil is approaching its peak because of EVs. So we don't really need as much in the oil reserve as we used to.
Yeah,
and again, you have to realize. And again, I feel you have to
in terms of availability.
Wait, I'm sorry.
In what? No, in
you
terms
said
of
it's
like
approaching its peak.
Demand growth for oil is going to peak probably in 26 or 27.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it seems to be going that way too. It seems like over and over again we're figuring out just renewables and all this shit.
Like it's growing slower than it ever has.
I'm pretty sure.
And once it hits its peak, it'll be negative growth. We'll be.
I don't doubt that is. So I don't doubt that it's growing slower. 100%. I grant you that. Right. What I question is your comment of, well, it's going to peak or we're reaching its peak. Because of EVs. As a guy who's in the car industry, I am seeing an extremely sharp pivot in EV production and the direction that those are headed right now.
It's wrong.
Are you domestic brand or are you looking globally? Because China is over 50% market share. Most new cars sold in China now.
In the U.S.
Yeah, but China is a big driver of oil demand globally. So if China is buying less oil, then that global demand is going to start dropping. Now, there's a little bit of delay. The reason it's not happening now is because market share is not the same as number of cars on the road. So now you have to wait for cars that were sold years ago to get retired. But what's happening now is that the majority of cars sold in China are EVs. I used to talk about when Norway hit that mark and everyone was like, Norway, it's such a tiny country. Well, China is not exactly a tiny country. And
but you gotta look at the population density. The population density. Let me rephrase it like this: not their overall population density, right? Because if you look at their overall population density, it's a gigantic fucking country. But if you look at it, Australia is another good example, right? A vast majority of Australia's population lives in 5 fucking cities in their entire country, right? China is very similar in the sense that there are huge portions of the country that are just absolute desperate fucking nothingness.
Right, but I understand why does that matter? Because they still have a lot of people, right?
Correct, they do, but to your point with you're
or a lot of cars. The number of cars in the country is really the relevant number. Right?
Correct, but with Sweden, or for example, right? When you're talking about EVs, right?
Yeah.
Population density, right? It totally makes sense where those countries, absolutely 100%, right? And in certain cities within China, when you're talking about these very, very heavily populated country or cities within China, yeah, sure, totally.
Well, I think there's another factor in China, and that is China can give the order from top down. Everyone's going to drive EVs now, and then everyone's just going to have to.
Well,
right? Because they're not exactly
a democracy.
Fascism, you don't need consumer buy-in, right? They just say you're going to do it, and they're going to do it.
Well, Rich,
apparently made that decision.
None of this actually matters, Rich. None of this actually matters.
Well, it does matter because what it means is that China's not going to be consuming oil anymore, not at the same rates they were.
No. What I'm trying to say is that none of this actually matters really at the moment. All we can look at is the numbers. An IPA,
but we're not talking about. We're talking about 2027 and beyond.
No, I know. I'll get there. I promise. So IPA, you say that you work in the car industry and you don't see this. This has to be anecdotal because you can look at every single EV car company and EV models that are in these companies. All of them have increased dramatically with production and getting bought. So we're seeing a trend there. The only one that's down is Tesla. The only one that right now is down is Tesla. So we are seeing a shift and a grow, and we're starting to see a competitive market.
Show me in the U.S.
I could show you.
Oh, really? Because everything that I have seen, every news article that I have seen internally with insider information is saying that Ford, Chevy, Stellantis, they're all Hertz. Hertz is the biggest one that everyone's heard about recently.
Here we go.
Are all divesting in their EVs.
Yeah, you know the last time
that happened?
Do you remember the last time that happened? When the horseless carriage was being introduced in the United States, 90% of companies that were making cars went out of business. Because that's always happens when there's massive disruption in industry. There's going to be a bunch of failures and there's going to be a bunch of successes that grow out of it, right? You could, in the early 20th century, look at all of those business failures and say, yeah, the horseless carriage it's a fad. It's not you can't beat the horse. The horse is traditional. People have had them forever. And look at all these companies that are making cars that are going out of business.
There we go. I sent that one. That was worldwide. So let me do US
right
really
now,
quick. Yeah, let me do US really quick.
Yeah, this is globally. I mean specifically.
Okay, and then here, and then hold on. And then
U.S. market share reached a new high of 8.9% in Q3 of this year. Sales are up 11% year over year.
There you go.
Tesla's
and
dropping,
there's the U.S. just showing.
General Motors reported a 60% increase in EV sales. This is within the United States, and 12% for Ford.
And then if you look right now, you see
Tesla's
where it
been
says
struggling, but that's
well, you see it says Tesla shows a huge number here in general, but their number used to be way bigger, and they're slowly going down. And these other countries or companies, I'm sorry, are coming in.
He's alienating half of his customer base with his politics. That's the problem.
But what I'm getting at is back that stream up, right? What you're talking about is the sales figures that we know of. What I understand from all the articles that I've read, from all the articles that I've read, is that their investment into it going forward has dramatically decreased.
There might be some point where they say the RNG might not make sense at the moment for the research and development R&D. That may be possible, but I don't know how true that really is. They might be cutting staff maybe because they kind of hit a stale point, because really at this point, really what they need to make better is batteries last longer, and that's very difficult to do.
The difficult part that they need to fix, and this is just me being a car nerd and like fucking car autism, right? It's not about the battery longevity.
Lethe, pass this one around.
If I could fucking if I could
You're
go to
my side chat.
Gas station, right? And take a piss and get a drink and walk out, and my EV was charged, and I could go another 200 miles. I don't give a fuck if I have a 400-mile range battery. I don't give two shits. If I could stop anywhere there's a gas station, quote unquote, and I could go another 200 miles,
we're only going to see. Hey, really quick, we're only going to see an increase of ports in general. Also, that is another issue too, because how long does it take me to fill up a tank of gas? 5 minutes. How long does it take me to charge 400 mile for my 400 mile or 300 mile? Right, an hour. Like, I mean, there's a huge.
Well, effectively,
I don't know how long,
right?
but I'm just saying in general.
How many times do you go to the gas? Like, I go to the gas station once or twice a week. All right, but I have a garage. So if I had an EV,
but Rich, that's the one thing that prevents me, who occasionally takes those kinds of trips, from buying an EV. Right?
We might
like the fact that I can't go to my cabin.
But I don't need you to buy an EV. This is what people misunderstand about all this. I don't need everyone on the planet
person. It might make sense. Yeah, it might make sense for you to have a gas car for this.
A reasonable
reason, right?
Like if 30% of Americans had EVs, that would satisfy me. And
I agree
you can have a gas car all you want.
I think 50% of Americans could get away with it.
It's probably more than that.
A lot of families can have one EV and one gas car, right? Drive the EV to work every day, but if you have a road trip, you take your gas car. That's fine.
However,
this could be a transitionary period. Where that's
let me also posit you this, okay? The cheapest EV on the market is $32,000.
Okay, my Toyota Camry that I bought brand new in 2020 at the time.
Before or after a $7,500 subsidy?
Before.
Okay, so you're.
My Toyota Camry brand new 2020 was $28,000. I mean, we're talking about $4,000 more. Seems fine to me.
There's always a trend.
Okay.
There's always
do you understand
that's a pretty good deal.
Do you understand what a $25,000 vehicle costs? If you don't
what is a $25,000 vehicle right now? What is a $25,000 vehicle right now? Brand new.
A $25,000 vehicle. Okay. Let's assume you're fine. Let's assume you're fine.
The Chevy Bolt.
Yeah, that's fine. Finance.
The Bolt doesn't exist anymore. It's gone.
No, it still exists. I mean, I don't know if it's if next year's is gonna be there, but
we get a Kia,
the cheapest
or
EV
we
on the
get like
market
a Ford
is the
Focus.
Equinox EV.
Yeah, the Chevy Equinox.
Yep, and they start around $32,000. Okay, so less your $7,500 tax credit, that puts you around $25,000.
No. I'm sorry. I'm saying gas.
29.
I'm saying gas cars. What is a $25,000 gas car?
Yeah, but the Nissan. Hang on. Time out. If I'm not mistaken, the Nissan Leaf is not built in America. Let me Google that real quick, just before I shoot myself in the foot here.
Well, I'm talking about competitiveness here. I think we should all be talking about competitiveness.
Yes, but the competitiveness has to factor in where the fuck is it built, because there's a $7,500 tax credit if it's built in America.
Yeah, the tax credit might be a big factor.
Okay.
I would definitely.
Let me Google it real quick. Hang on.
No, it does. It does qualify for the tax credit.
Okay, it does. Okay,
MSRP is $29,000. So that would be
even still $29,000 minus $7,500. Okay.
Oops, oh wait, never mind. I'm sorry. I take it back. It qualifies for a partial credit, which is half of the total,
which is $4,500.
$3,750. So that means $25,000 after subsidy.
Right. So going back to the point of what's a $25,000 car, right? $25,000 car, again, assuming you're financing it, you don't have to, right? Divided by 72 months times your interest rate, even if you have like a good credit score, right? You're still talking about somewhere in the neighborhood of $400 a month. The average goddamn American is $500 of medical bills away from bankruptcy.
Well, there also comes a point because you also get a $4,000 credit for a used car, for a used EV.
Correct. So however, there are caveats to that. Okay, it has to be at least 2 model years old. It has to have at least the battery like size is irrelevant because almost every single goddamn EV out there qualifies for it, and it has to be under $25,000 total.
Okay, so under 25,000, probably right. So when you say total, you mean after subsidy?
The sale price. No, the sale price. I'm sorry.
All right. So I'm
25,000 plus tax out of license.
Yeah. So I'm hearing two narratives that contradict sometimes on this because I hear there's no demand and therefore the resale value of EVs is really bad. And if that's true, then there's a lot of really cheap EVs out there that you can take another $4,000 off. You can get a $10,000 EV with subsidy. Like that's not bad. Or if that narrative is not true, then that means that the resale value on EVs is pretty good, and that's a reason to invest in them. So I mean, either way, it's a potentially good narrative.
Okay. Yeah. So I used to work for Chevy for about the past 4 years before my current job. Okay.
Right.
So I worked for General Motors, and in those cases where you found a 2-year-old vehicle, again, they all qualify for the battery range because the battery range was like ridiculous. Right. I don't remember what the spec was, but like pretty much every EV from 2016 onward qualified for it. Okay. And it had to be under $25,000.
And I'm willing to go very low range myself. Like I'm looking for an EV.
No, Rich, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding you.
I only need
the qualification, if you look it up, was absolutely absurd.
Yeah. I don't even need I only would use my car to commute anyway. So I would take 60-mile range. I'd be fine with that.
So those are like the 3 qualifications for the used rebate for $4,000. I want to say it's $4,000. Okay. Had to be under $25,000 though, right? That was the big key, right? And it had to be 2 model years old. So when you had a 2 model year old used EV that qualified, right? The Chevy Bolt, because I work for GM, that was a big one, right? We took a somewhere between a $28,000 and a $37,000 vehicle, and we sold them for somewhere between $16,000 and $22,000-ish, $23,000-ish, right? Depending on the MSRP. Yeah, that's a significant chunk. Don't get me wrong, I don't disagree with you, right? But you had to find the vehicle. They were few and far between.
Because people don't want to sell their EVs?
No, because
that would be good news. If it turns out people don't want to get rid of their EVs,
truthfully, like in all fairness, I couldn't tell you that number as to like the retention rate of the new ones.
The retention rate must be very high if it's hard to find a used EV.
Don't know. I don't know what that is. I don't know what the retention rate versus the production is.
Right. But what you're saying is that nobody seems to be selling their EV.
No, what I'm telling you is the availability of them was fairly small.
Well, right. If the availability is small, it must be because no one's selling them, right?
Or
you can't both say that everyone is dumping their EVs on the market.
You have to look at you have to look at their initial sales rate versus their retention rate.
Yeah, I know.
So it's always gonna. If their initial sales rate is small and their retention rate is 100%, like all the selling is they didn't sell that many of them.
Well, if the retention rate's 100%, then they're selling 0.
No, that means if the retention rate is 100%, that means everybody who buys one is keeping one.
Right. That's
so they could sell 100 million of them, or they could sell 100,000 of them. It doesn't matter.
If you're saying there's no used EVs on the market, like it's very difficult to find one, that implies that the retention rate is very high,
or that they just didn't make that many of them.
Yeah, but they've been making a lot of them. I mean, there are millions of EVs in America now.
That's what I'm asking you is what's the initial sales rate and what's the retention rate? I don't know that number. And I have to know the number to tell you the answer.
Lethe, did you guys already talk about what Lethe sent here or DM'd or whatever?
6 million. 6 million EVs have been sold in the United States.
Well, it looks like right here, I'm looking at the numbers here. It says it looks like the U.S. EV market reached a new high of 8.9% in quarter 3 of 2024. EV sales were up 11% year over year, totaling 50,000. Yeah. Tesla U.S. EVs market share fell to 48%. General Motors reported a 60% increase compared to Ford, who had a 12% increase. You have Honda and all these other people too. Looks like they're bringing in big numbers as well. I mean, I guess electric trucks aren't taking off as also.
Well, also I think a lot of people are assuming that
extremely
the
expensive.
American
They're
market
cost
is what
prohibitive.
makes or break here, and it's
Yeah,
not
that's
the American
probably
market.
true.
China.
Paul, like
It's
the,
China that
the,
matters.
the EV Silverados, the work trucks, the EV work trucks have an MSRP of like almost $100,000.
Well, I mean, how much does a Cybertruck cost? You know,
100 grand.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but then you get a
so-
fucking Cybertruck and it's got a shit ton more stuff than just a work truck.
Well, I feel like you should be buying.
Yeah,
trucks that
I mean,
be a
it's
work
got
truck,
a it's
right?
got a finger breaker on the back. That's pretty.
I've seen
That's
so many
something other
videos
trucks
about
don't
that.
have.
I've seen so many videos of guys going, "Look, it's not gonna break my finger." Then, ah, fuck.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Hey, I do got to get out of here. I have the trying to cut my shit. Kind of go to bed at reasonable times now. I have sleep insomnia, self-diagnosed. Okay, and but always a pleasure, brother. I know, dude.
Well,
always
thanks for
always a
coming
pleasure,
through, Paul.
guys.
I think it's about time I raid out anyway. So if you want to stick around till I raid out,
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'll stick around.
yeah, I'm gonna raid out right now.
I mean, it's pretty early where you are, Lethy.
That's 9:30.
Uh,
But I got to work out at 4:30
yeah,
in the
but
morning. So you know.
and I got work, and I have to be up to get ready for
Fair.
work by 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I respect that. You're wearing the tank top and you actually look like cut and you're not doing shit. Whereas me, I'm like intentionally sitting in a position where I look sort of like you can see where I used to be once upon a time an athlete. You know,
Hey,
I respect that.
we do what we can.
I love you
Hammer,
all.
Stop streaming.
Bye, guys.
Have a good night, y'all. Sending you out. Have a good night. Thanks for being here for the conversation. It's been a blast, and as always, chat W. Love y'all.
I was about to suggest sending him to Neko since he's Neko Cirrus.
I
But
sent
I
him to
can-
Resi.
No, serious.
Hi, boys.
Yeah,
I really got to
I
take a piss.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna get out of here, my
I'm gonna
friends.
take
Always.
off.
Another thing too, Dem W seems like Dem W at the moment. Get fucked,
Yeah.
IPA. Get fucked.